everybody, SONGOSHUAKU'S here, and welcome to this review/discussion for Dragon Ball Super Episode 130, an unprecedented super showdown, the ultimate survival battle. And yes, you are correct, you heard me not say just review, but discussion, because I'd like to go ahead and welcome back after, what, a 2-week hiatus, TheLinuxVirus.
Hey guys! Long time no see.
Oh boy, it's good to definitely have you back here so we can go ahead and actually break down and discuss. So everyone sit back, enjoy this audio review as you go about your everyday life, because here we'll be breaking down this entire episode as well as going ahead and discussing various parts of Dragon Ball that tie into all this. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and give the little play-by-play of what happened, because this was a action-heavy episode. We'll both go ahead and get in our thoughts on this. So basically, let us begin. So basically, things starts off with Goku looking super cool in his mastered Migate no Gokui form as he says, "The real fight starts now, Jiren." And then basically Goku, he just looks all business, and you have Jiren who just sits there and says, not Koi, but Son Goku. We have Hakai, the Kaioshin of the Universe 11. He basically plays the role of narrator, basically saying things about how, you know, what we kind of all realize is the final battle. This is where it all is gonna go basically come down to. All right, then, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and get the play-by-play. So the fight starts off with Son Goku taking off the stage, going out of frame so fast that all the surroundings blow up, leaving, basically, they just blow right up. Like, it's like it had a, what's that called? It's like a, what am I trying to think of? It is where it's like a delayed reaction. Oh man. So then from there, let's see. He then goes past Jiren, and Jiren legit doesn't even know what hit him. He's in the same position as he was looking at Goku, and he's like, what? And we see the split come down where the blood is drawn as Goku goes right into the rocks. And Jiren, he starts to get angry as he goes, "Don't get cocky just because you've powered up." And and you know what? I'm like, at this time, I'm like, oh, so Jiren can dish it out, but he can't take it. How many times have you powered up in this tournament and you get made when you get angry? You just basically think it's all like cool for everyone else to get angry. You know, I guess you could say Jiren's being a little hypocrite here. So this is where we get some really good action here. So I say this fight kind of had like 3 rounds. So let's start off with the first round. So Jiren takes off, and he starts swinging at Son Goku. He's punching, he's kicking everywhere, but soon Goku is just dodging and doing backflips left and right. Goku then starts to fight head up super fast with Jiren. Jiren's dodging Goku's attacks, but gets annoyed while Goku is both dodging and attacking with his calm face. He has a calm face through this whole fight, and I freaking love it. Jiren then goes for a left hand, but Goku stops it with his fist, and by hitting Jiren's forearm, and then does a spinning back kick to Jiren's face, sending Jiren back as he yells, "God!" Jiren then jumps in the sky and Genki-Dama-like position. No, he's not doing a Genki-Dama, folks, but he's in Genki-Dama position to form another supernova-like looking attack. And then he launches it, speaking of it, he launches it in Genki-Dama. Legit, anyone who's played Budokai 3 out there or just seen any time Goku launches a spirit bomb, it goes his head, it's the exact position. From there, Son Goku basically calmly places his hand out with a tiny blue ki blast and disintegrates Jiren's supernova-like attack. It's very reminiscent of the shot that he had when he put his hand up towards the screen in the foreground with his face looking serious in the background back in the Frieza saga. So the explosion spreads all through the stage, and it leaves a flaming blue fire all over the place. We then get to another cool retro, that was the cool retro shot that I think Goku did. And this is where Jiren is all like, "He cancels it out. So from here, Jiren and Son Goku collide again in combat. Goku now brings the fight to Jiren. It's a super fast speed. Then Goku needs him to, Goku needs him to the gut. And that makes and I know you haven't been on these reviews, Linux, but I call it the humbled Jiren face. What the humbled Jiren face is anytime Jiren's eyes gets big, his pupils get small, and his mouth gets wide, and he goes like, oh! It's called the humbled Jiren face. So after Jiren basically does the good old humble Jiren face, Goku follows it up with a uppercut to his jaw. Goku then smacks him upside the head, literally with his foot. It's a high kick, but the way they animated it, it looked like Goku just took his head and was like bam, right upside the head, getting smacked with a foot. So from there, Goku then goes for another punch. Then Jiren tries to attack, but it only sends his arm back. Then, while Jiren starts to shoot a barrage of blasts, and Goku basically avoids by doing backflips and cartwheels over the stage, Son Goku is just basically going completely gymnastic all over the place. Goku's dodging and spinning everywhere. He jumps up to multiple flips in the air and lands on his feet. Jiren sends another barrage of blasts at Son Goku, this time dodging all over them, smacking one after the other away, all while charging straight for him. Jiren blocks one of Goku's attacks, and then they collide fists. Goku then swings and he faints in with an uppercut, but it's not what he's gonna go for. He uses it to trick him, and then goes for a kick to Jiren, that he actually blocks. Goku then puts the pressure on Jiren at an extremely fast rate. This knocks Jiren back, and an angry Jiren jumps in the air, tries to punch Son Goku, but he blocks it with his forearm. We then see Jiren completely upset all over his face, yet Goku is just super calm. Then he swats Jiren away like it's none, just like a little fly, like a boom! And then from there, Goku dodges, Goku then reappears and punches him in the face, and then swoops behind him, does a spinning jump back kick to Jiren that sends him flying back. Then Jiren stops himself after he basically stops himself after being kicked away. But just as he's running around, Goku comes in quickly with a huge punch to Jiren's gut, sending him through 3 rocks. Then finally the 4th one, when Jiren powers up of the rubble, seeing a very calm, cool Goku awaiting him. This leaves Jiren gas for huffing and puffing, and this is essentially the this is essentially where the first part of the fight ends. Now then, I'm going to take a break so we can basically discuss this. I'm going to get started here by saying, you want to talk about gut punches. We've seen some classic gut punches. I mean, we've seen 17 and Piccolo and their fight. We've seen even most recently Topo and Frieza. But this gut punch, I'm gonna go ahead and do my inner Jim Ross here. My God! Or in this case, my Kami is my witness. He's broken him in half. Yes, that is a terrible Jim Ross impression, but you WWE fans out there know exactly what it's talking like, because there's no other way to describe this. Jiren freaking looked like he was broken in half. This man was elongated. Goku's punch was so fierce to his gut, his upper body flew over Goku's head, and his lower body is like on par to Goku's face. It looked brutal, and I'm like, oh, dude, I'm so animated, literally. I don't do Dragon Ball Super reactions, but as you guys could probably hear from the excitement in my voice, I get very animated when I'm watching this. I literally got out of my seat. I grabbed my gut, and I was like, oh, as I fell to my knees. It's like I felt the pain. He got cut the way they animated this. Wow. And in this first part of the fight, Son Goku completely outclassed Jiren. And I was like, oh, I was just so hyped, man. This was so cool to actually see Jiren finally getting humbled, because we've been waiting to see Jiren get this humiliated in a fight for what seems like a year. Wow. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and take a breather, obviously, and I'll let you go ahead. What was your thoughts on the first part of this fight of Goku just being all over Jiren, Linux?
I honestly didn't think it was gonna be that bad. Out the gate. I knew he was gonna get beat, but I wasn't expecting him to get beat that bad. Like, and God, just from that initial. So, by the way, you completely undersold when Goku hit his arm and blocked that punch. He didn't just hit his arm; he stopped his entire body from moving before he kicked him.
Are you talking about on the part where I think I wrote it in the notes where he blocked it with his arm? He blocked Jiren's fist with his forearm.
Yeah, it wasn't that he blocked his fist. He like hit his shoulder. If you go back and watch the animation, he didn't really block it. He just like kind of hit his fit. Like if you've ever seen Jet Li, I think the movie's called Red Dragon. Or Ip Man. Like, that's the best way to describe it. Like, when Ip Man hits, when they're fighting in his house, he hits that one guy's arm before he swings his sword. That's basically what Goku did to Jiren. Like, he stopped his entire body by hitting whatever pressure point was on his shoulder and then just kicked him back. Like, what? What was that?
Yeah, I think I know what you're because I saw as I was pausing animation to get all these details down here for you guys. Yeah, I spent quite a few hours basically kind of trying to go through those fights frame by frames to make sure I get as much details as possible. And I think, yeah, the way they animated was like Goku's just like gently swatting all of Jiren's attacks away in high-level, ultra-fast combat. Wow. Oh, man. Hey, dude, I want to hear your thoughts. I gave my thoughts because you mentioned it in one of our previous reviews about the gut punch. What was your thoughts on this gut punch? Did you see how elongated Jiren's, oh my gosh, body became after that one?
That one, okay, so we'll talk about it when we get to it. That's not the scene that made me cringe. I actually did not react to that the way I did Frieza's. Frieza's legitimately made me keel over, because that looked brutal. Jiren's, I'm not gonna lie, it did not strike me as that bad. There's another hit that struck me as bad, but that one didn't strike me as that bad. Was it ridiculous? Yes, that was ridiculous, because he hit him with, like, the Ip Man. No, he actually looks like Hit when he hit him. If you really look at it, where Goku had like the boxer stance when he hit him. Oh, it was so good. But no, that entire fight is ridiculous. My favorite part throughout this entire episode, but mainly throughout this entire fight, especially this first half, is the voice acting from Jiren.
Oh, because dude, we're about to get to that one soon.
We get what we wanted, and it only gets better from here. But just like the level of frustration you could feel from watching this episode and listening to Jiren. Shoutouts to his voice actor.
Oh yeah, I got it.
Because to be able to portray that, not only did the animators do a great job of just making this look the way it did, but I feel like if I were just to listen to the audio from this, like just to listen to the audio and have the words on screen, I feel like I would be damn near able to picture this scene work like just frame by frame if I hadn't seen it. Like I feel like just like the voice acting is just that good. The level of just emotion that is portrayed in this entire episode is on another level. So huge shout outs to the voice actor.
I agree. Yeah, that's actually the next part that I was about to get to here in my notes, man. That's where you guys see this Jiren gets angry. Like this is the first time we've ever gotten this much character emotion out of Jiren. So this is the part where after the gut check that Goku gives Jiren, he gets mad and he says, "That can't be. I won't lose. I can't lose. Strength is justice. Strength is absolute. All is meaningless without victory. To be defeated. To lose everything." And while he's saying this, we're getting flashbacks of the past that play into his eyes, and he goes like, "Just like then, I won't go through that ever again. That's why. Ah!" And this is where Jiren basically does another huge power-up where he goes beyond his max power. So basically what this is full power Jiren powers up to full power. I bet I sound like I contradicted myself there, didn't I?
He never went full power.
Oh,
I told you this like 2 reviews ago.
Oh, yeah, you did, but it's just funny. It's just funny because they keep saying full power. It's like, how many more times can this man go full power? But that's actually not what happened here, and I'll get back to explaining that. But like Linux was saying, yeah, definitely shout out. His Japanese voice actor, Jiren, is Eiji Hanawa. He's done some work before in Hunter x Hunter, and yes, he did a phenomenal job performing Jiren. Like, because, you know, Jiren's not much of a character that has much of a personality, so we haven't gotten to really hear what he could bring, I think, fully to the table as Jiren, other than, you know, koi and lots of screams. But
wait,
here...
He did Hunter x Hunter?
Yeah, he played a character in Hunter x Hunter. I haven't, watched...
Oh, I think I know exactly which character he played.
Good, yeah, I do not.
He plays one of the Phantom Trope, the big guy. What's his name? That makes sense now. I wonder, because when Jiren does the yell, when he starts remembering his past trauma, I thought it sounded familiar, but I couldn't put my finger on it. Now I know who it is. He plays Uvu in Hunter x Hunter. That's the character he plays.
Oh, cool. Hope you definitely are right about that.
He does the same yell when he's fighting Kurapika. Because Kurapika corners Uvu, and he taunts him in that series. He taunts him because, like, he punches him, and Kurapika, like, literally heals his arm. And he's like, okay. He said, I'm going to hit you with everything. And when he powers up, he does a very similar yell to what he does in this episode with Jiren. I'm pretty sure the character's name is Uvu. It's either Uvu or something similar to that. Really cool character, guys. Seriously, like, one of the best characters. Shortly lived. No spoiler, but like shortly lived, but definitely a really awesome character. Uvu or Uvergen or something like that.
Okay, cool. Yeah, see, I'm not familiar with them, so it's pretty cool that you know and everything. But yeah, no doubt he's a tremendous voice actor. So it was really cool. And you know, in the Funimation, I don't know if this is officially, it's in Xenoverse 2 because he's downloadable content. Patrick Zeitz, I believe, hopefully I said his last name right. I know he does the English voice of Jiren. I haven't actually heard it because I haven't been able to play it yet. But I know most times when they release the voiceovers in the video games, we're not so sure if that's going to be the final outtake of the voice, but if it is, man, I hope he really definitely brings it to the table for this part of Jiren. And before we get back into the story, as I said before, this is discussions. Let's go ahead and segue, because me and you talked about this before we started recording, and you wanted to wait to hear what I had to say. So yeah, recent interviews have come up with Toriyama talking about some of the behind-the-scene aspects as far as what was in the monologues, or what was added by Toei Animation for the Universal Survival arc. Now, one of the things that was revealed in the interview is that Toei Animation, they actually wanted Jiren to have a personality. But what happened is Toriyama, apparently, he didn't want Jiren to have a personality. He kind of wanted him just to be, you know, the guy that just stands there and does big, powerful things, which is, you know, particularly one of the most complaint things that we've had about Jiren in the fans. So it was Toriyama's decision to make Jiren like this. So what happened is they gave that personality to Toppo to do all the poses and talk about the justice. So that's basically what happened there. So this is basically by design. Toriyama, the man himself, from what I understand from that interview, he is the one who made Jiren like this. So that's why, you know, we're so glad to see Jiren show a lot of personality, because I think you may have been like me as well for the longest time when so many fans were talking about Jiren being one of those guys that you know, people thought he was boring because he had no backstory at the time and no personality. I was like, you know, I just want to come to a fair decision, a fair judgment of the character once we get to this point. And yeah, man, just like you, I love the emotion that was put into Jiren and everything. Before we get back to the fight here, now that you know that, what is your thoughts? Now you know that it was Toriyama's decision to make Jiren this way. And obviously, before you get started, we see that Toyotaro obviously kind of went in a different direction as he gave Jiren more of a personality right off the bat in the manga.
I'm very happy he did that. Because I think Toriyama would have had a really bad, like, it would have been a bad decision, just from a story writing standpoint. He would not have been as likable as a character. I mean, it's similar to Broly in a sense, where like, and I know Toriyama had nothing to do with Broly, but it's kind of the reason why fans like Broly. Yeah, he's a big, powerful character, you know, this, that, and the third, but it's Broly's personality that a lot of the fans like. You know what I mean? It's
When
how
you
he
say
carries
personality,
himself.
do you mean the lack thereof personality?
No, no, Broly
Probably
is
the first movie personality. The second movie is where he has the lack of personality.
Yeah, I was just about to say nobody cares about that second movie, to be honest.
Oh, hey, I'm in the minority there. I love the second movie.
It has some really good fight scenes, but no,
I
everybody
love
loves
the comedy.
Broly.
Yeah, guys. Yeah, I don't care. I'm one of the people out there. I love the second Broly movie. So yeah.
But no, like that first movie, you know, especially after the original legendary Super Saiyan transformation, Broly has a lot of character. You know, he knows he's the strongest. He knows how much power he can generate. You know, there's a taunting factor to him. You know, he knows he's this big badass Saiyan killing machine. You know, and he's just having fun with his prey until he gets bored and moves on to the next. You know, like it's
He has
not
some good
only the
lines
fact that
too.
he's strong, but it's the fact that he's talking trash as he backs it up. You
He's
know,
a monster. No,
part of that is
I am
also,
a devil.
yeah, you know, like it's stuff like that where it's like, bruh, this character is ridiculous. And Jiren was kind of the same way. It just
But
didn't
you know
hit
what?
as hard until later in the tournament series.
I think we can
You
agree
know?
though. Jiren has the much better backstory and more relatable.
Oh, yeah.
Relatable. Like I know there's not a lot of kids out there, and thankfully that have probably never dealt with their parents being killed and everybody around them basically all their friends betraying them. So you know it is taken to the extreme. But I feel like you can understand why Jiren is the way he is. Like who the heck can relate to being what like 5 seconds or a few minutes old and remembering the baby that was next to you was crying? I'd always shook my head at that in the Broly movie. But yeah, I see. I'm glad that you agree with me that Jiren has the better backstory.
Oh yeah, I think the reason for like the power up, like the reason for why they are where they are completely night and day. Like I'd take Jiren's situation in a heartbeat over Broly's. But the thing that makes Jiren, like you hit it right on the head. It makes Jiren somewhat relatable. You know, like he decided to become this strong because he lost everything that was close to him. You know, and what makes his story hit even harder is that, okay, he lost everything that was close to him. He ended up finding another family. They trained him, they raised him, he kind of settled in. And then when the opportunity came to avenge his old family, he lost his new family again trying to do the right thing. So you're literally talking about a young man who was thrown into a bad situation, gets taught and put on the right path, only to have it snatched from him again. And then when he develops the resolve, like, okay, I'm going to officially end this, everybody is like, no, you're on your own because, you know, we give up. There's no way to stop this. Like, it makes sense as to why he decided to be this, okay, friendship really isn't where I can get my strength. The only way I can get my strength is to make myself, like, that strong, unstoppable entity. You see what I'm saying? Like, I get his reason for wanting to be so strong, as well as it correlates with his whole reason for wanting to protect his universe. You know what I mean? I get
for
it.
sure,
Like,
man.
Jiren's character makes sense. It makes perfect sense.
Oh, absolutely.
And, you know, there's this whole mysticism on like, man, how did Jiren get this strong, this, that, and the third? And we see it in the very few seconds after that flashback. Like, his power, like, it damn near catches up to Goku in an instant. Because his will to not lose because he wants to protect what he cares about, that's, like, it's almost just as strong as the Saiyan's ability to get stronger after defeat. It's almost on par, and it's very interesting because it's a forced ability. You see what I mean?
For sure.
Not forced as in like thrown in for filler, but forced as in Jiren made himself get stronger. He literally said, "I'm not going to be weak." It's not like he used any type of spell, Dragon Balls. There was like this hidden power trump card. No, he literally was like, "I'm going to get stronger and I'm going to train until I get to that next level. And then once I get to that next level, I'm going to keep going. And I'm going to do it until I'm 100% sure there is nobody in the freaking galaxy, not universe, galaxy, that could not, contest with me."
Oh yeah, and dude, I think that's one reason why Jiren has respect for Vegeta, because as I've looked at Jiren's backstory, he is exactly what he is, and he doesn't want to give up who he is in this fight, as we'll talk more about as we go through the fight with Goku, because I definitely think it's something that he doesn't want to give up, that idea of what he has learned in terms of trust and power being absolute. That is who he is. But I'll definitely get more into that. But getting into the fight here, basically, getting back to the fight. So after Jiren's power up, the entire stage is lit in flames everywhere. And the thing about this is actually what it reminded me. We're going to go Disney here. I don't know if you got the same feeling, but the way they had the flaming red orbs, like this was like really cool scenery for the final battle. It reminded me of the final battle between Scar and Simba and the Lion King when they were on Pride Rock and it was flaming and it's red. Like, did you get any vibes from this? Did that remind you of that? That's what I felt like it was.
It didn't remind me of Scar vs. Simba. I definitely didn't get taken back down to that. But
it is the scenery for me.
but where
this fight was way more epic than Scar and
yeah, I'm sorry.
I'm not gonna be the guy.
Next level.
Boo this fight. I said boo. Scar versus Simba slapping each other in slow motion, better than anything we could see in Goku Jiren. And hey, if you feel that way, I respect your opinion, but in terms of epicness, I love The Lion King. It's my favorite favorite animated Disney movie.
I respect that 100%.
It's one of my favorite Disney anime movies, Toy Story being my most favorite. But with that said in mind, Dragon Ball anime, they're kind of two different things. They're on a whole nother level. But yeah, that's what I kind of got out of it. But yeah, what were you about to say?
I got something, well, the feel I got from it, I honestly remember thinking, or this is how I felt when it happened. I got the Yusuke Urameshi versus Toguro feel.
Ooh.
That's literally, because you know what scene I'm talking about in the Dark Tournament, when Toguro finally decides to go 100%.
Uh-huh.
That's the exact same feeling I got.
Oh man, Yusuke Urameshi
powered up, and I was like,
such a classic fight.
Because I remember waiting for that fight to happen, and then when Toguro acknowledges that he was only using 70%, I was like, what? I remember just as a kid being like, excuse me, you're what? And then when he fully powers up, I'm like, what is this character? And that's how I felt, especially with the way they pan up to Jiren from the ground up when he has that aura on him and just that super serious face. Man, oh man.
Too bad our friend GLG who plays Damasu in my Battle of Deception is not a big Dragon Ball fan, because she probably doesn't listen to these reviews, and I bet she would be going crazy over us referencing Yu Yu Hakusho, my second favorite all-time anime classic. If you guys ain't seen Yu Yu Hakusho and you're a big fan of Dragon Ball, you will love it. Believe me, it is a tremendous series, and honestly, I will admit, even though I love Dragon Ball more, I will admit it is a much better well-told story, I feel. I know you definitely agree with that, Linux.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yep.
Yeah. But with that said in mind, this was a very interesting part right here after Jiren does his power-up. So the flames shoot all the way up to the benches, and this is where Vegeta and Son Gohan basically play the roles of Whis. Now, what I mean by play the role of Whis is the one who's been doing the commentary, kind of explaining the battle as they go along here. So Vegeta basically says, "It looks like being concerned about Kakaroto made him remember his past trauma." And Son Gohan then states, "That must have awakened Jiren's hidden power." Now, before we go in there, I thought it was very interesting, I can't wait to get your opinion on this, that they chose Son Gohan to say the line that must have awakened Jiren's hidden powers. You see what they did there? You see what Toya did there?
I shook my head. Actually, I've watched this episode 13 times, guys.
Oh, yeah.
Literally, I've watched it 13 times, and I shook my head, I think 10 out of those 13 times, because I didn't want to cope with the fact that they used Gohan, who's been giving the get out of jail free card in Dragon Ball Z with this quote unquote hidden power, to say that line. It made me so mad.
For those of you who don't know or haven't heard our previous reviews, Linux has never been a fan of Son Gohan.
No. Such a terribly written character.
That was episode. I think that was like. That was like episode 125 or had to be 125 or 126. Whenever he got eliminated, around that time.
I think it was when when we were talking about the Dispo fight with him and Frieza, that I kind of went on my my rant about why I dislike Gohan, but I did decide to give him props in that episode.
But yeah, check out our review to that, and you'll get the TheLinuxVirus reason why he dislikes Gohan. But getting back here to the action, so this is like round 2 of the fight. So Son Goku is now not, this is where if you're a Dragon Ball fan and you want to have some really good action, just all cool, this right here, this is cool. This is Son Goku not backing down. He's not afraid, and Jiren, he's got his shirt off. Goku's got his shirt off. Basically, well, we can't have any blood and scratches. I'm pretty sure we'll see it in the manga. And they're surrounded basically by this ring of fire. Not that ring of fire that you guys saw at SummerSlam 2013 between Bray Wyatt and Kane. Some more wrestling trivia for you guys. But this is like a fire all over the entire arena. And, they have these incredibly universal destroying powers. And it's just epic. This is intense. This is what top level action in Dragon Ball is all about when it just comes to sheer power. Man, so basically, here's how the fight goes. Jiren flies in with the first shot. Goku blocks it, but goes in at super fast ultra speeds. Jiren then goes for a big punch. Goku blocks it by grabbing Jiren's fist, but Jiren uses a blast to blow Goku back. Jiren does another flaming ki blast. I don't know, but they look like flaming ki blasts, so that's why I call it that. So from there, Jiren then unleashes another barrage of flaming ki blasts, but Goku manages to block them, but Jiren jumps above him and fires a massive flaming ki blast. Goku fires back with a massive Kamehameha. Both warriors are now engaged in an intense ki blast struggle, which I don't think we got enough of this in this tournament, so it's really cool. I mean, what would a big epic Dragon Ball fight be without a ki blast struggle? Jiren from there, he overpowers Goku's Kamehameha, destroying it completely, and says, you know what, I'll let you take it from here. He said, what did he say, Linux?
Warida.
Which translates to, it's over. He basically goes in, it's over. And then from there, Son Goku is then completely engulfed in Jiren's flaming ki blast attack that forms a gigantic explosion as Jiren just menacingly watches on. I mean, like, Jiren is livid. He's had enough of Goku. After the smoke clears, a gigantic crater is formed from the explosion, but Son Goku pops right back up in Vegeta-like fashion and charges straight at Jiren. And what I mean by Vegeta-like fashion, check out Dragon Ball Z movie, I believe that was 6, where Metacooler throws Vegeta back into the background and Vegeta just flies right back. Oh boy, that was classic. Another great Dragon Ball Z movie, basically. But from there,
so good.
Both fighters are now teleporting and hitting one another at the same time at super ultra speeds. And with that, both land on nearby rubble. They engage in a test of strength. So, that cool test of strength. We've seen this before, like with Goku and Cell's fight. So now at this point, this is what I really like, when we get into the dynamics of this fight. Jiren is now getting extremely annoyed as he says, "You still have this much power left. Persistent power. bastard. And Goku then, he basically is keeping calm, and he responds by kneeing Jiren in the gut. Now, if you're a wrestling fan, this is a classic heel move. The babyface did the heel tactic. Usually in professional wrestling, you've got the heel and the babyface. They do test of strength. The babyface starts winning, so then the heel does the knee to the gut. But they've got Goku healing it up as the babyface. Yeah, I'm just being dramatic now as a wrestling fan. But anyways, you wrestling fans, well, I think we'll get it out there. But yeah, this causes Jiren to make once again the humble Jiren face. Oh, and then he tries punching and kicking, but Goku dodges all of them, steps back and fires a ki blast. But Jiren answers back with his own ki blast that sends Son Goku spinning upwards. Jiren teleports above him and does a double axe handle, followed by another flaming ki blast of doom. He nails Goku right in the back as Goku's falling, going straight down to the ground. So Goku is down, but he is not out, as he is still in his Ultra Instinct form. So yeah, man, this clearly went to Jiren. Before we get into the dialogue here, because the dialogues was some of my favorite part, and I'll get into that later, but I'll give us the floor here. So clearly round 2 here, Jiren makes a huge comeback. I don't know if you noticed too, I forgot to mention that his aura, and a lot of people thought Jiren attained Migate no Gokui. I don't think that's the case. His aura did look similar to it, but I think the idea is that Jiren is just so strong he can match Migate no Gokui's form. But yeah, I thought this was a really good way Jiren comes back, and something I want to give props to. You know, too many times in Dragon Ball the characters just sit there as they power up. I like the idea that Jiren was a quick power up. He just, you know, he powered up, and it was quickly before Goku could even do anything. He had to block. So I did like that part, that they made it quick and snappy, and they didn't have it be where you're going to be wondering, why is Goku just sitting there waiting for this dude to power up? So much props for them animating it that way. So yeah, obviously I do like the fact Goku completely owned Jiren in the first part of the fight, but in the second fight it was a lot more even, and I think that was pretty good. You know, you don't want to bury Son Goku's completed Migate no Goki form. What was your thoughts on the second part of this fight, as Jiren, I say, obviously takes round 2, he made a comeback?
They definitely did this the right way. Because this could have gone completely left, as we've seen in typical Dragon Ball fashion, where good guy gets power up, bad guy fights, bad guy powers up just a little bit to match for just a little bit, and then good guy eventually overpowers him. They could have gone with the stereotypical norm, and they didn't. Jiren, up until the last part of this fight, actually, and we can talk about it later, was for the most part even with Goku. At this point in the fight, previously before he got wrecked, there's no denying that. But at this point in the fight, after he kind of maxes out, pretty even. I still say Goku maybe had like a slight edge. So it almost reminded you of kind of like Goku versus Frieza when Goku first went Super Saiyan, where like Goku just had just a slight edge over Frieza. It mimics that almost to a T. Except Jiren, you can tell in this fight, he was trying to end this man.
Oh yeah, Goku has come along and challenged everything that he stands for in life completely, and he's actually being taken to the limit by this dude with this philosophy that he just can't wrap his head around. And Goku's just so calm because he's been down this path before. He knows what it's like to, I think, take all this enemy. So yeah, that's why I really love that Jiren is the one angry and Goku is just calm. I love it.
Well, it also just makes sense. And once again, this even more just helps Jiren as a character, because there's that argument where, like, I could see if it was somebody like Frieza or Vegeta who was mocking Goku for believing in his friends and drawing on them for power, or let's just say Frieza. Like, Frieza would not care that Goku is using his friends for power. You see what I'm saying? He thinks it's pitiful, futile, this, that, and the third. And that's expected from Frieza.
He is a villain after all, and Jiren is a good guy.
Well, not even that. Frieza just wouldn't, he's not used to that. You see what I'm saying? He doesn't come from that. What makes this a little bit more where your heart kind of goes out to Jiren is that Jiren's tried this. He's tried this twice and lost it. You see what I mean? He's been Goku where he's fought for his friends. He's tried to go for his friends, and it's gotten them all killed. So that's the thing. It's like, for Jiren, for you to say this when I've experienced having everything I've cared about taken away from me twice, you know, of course I'd be pissed off if Goku comes to me like, oh yeah, I'm fighting for my friends, this is where I got my power. What? No, stop lying to me. You know, like, I've done that. You know, haha, very funny. Next, you know, tell me the real secret. You know, so once again, that's what I'm saying. It makes you think, and you can't help but be kind of rooting for Jiren in a way. Like, granted, I don't want to see Universe 7 eliminated, but at the same time, I don't want to see Jiren lose.
Well, you don't. They're there, happy as can be at the end of Dragon Ball Z.
But you see what I mean? It makes it really, really hard to root against Jiren in this fight. It really makes it hard to root against him.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree.
Like, so I love the way this fight went. The second half, I think, went perfectly. Obviously, Jiren. I knew Jiren was going to turn up on Goku the moment he punched that one ki blast back at him. The moment that happened, I was like, yeah, Goku was about to start getting hit. And sure enough, Goku got hit several times in this fight.
Oh yeah, Jiren, I said he wasn't playing with Goku. Let's move on to the part of this episode. Now, this is actually one of my favorite parts. Now, you know me as a long time. You know, obviously Dragon Ball is as popular as it is mostly due to the action, but you've always known me when it comes to anime and just like fiction and movies in general. I always love how you can take a moral or a life lesson in the show and how you can apply that to your to real life and everything. And basically that's one of the things that I love about, you know, I love me a good Dragon Ball fight just like any other Dragon Ball fan, but when there's a good story and some real good emotion in there, that is definitely, it just ups the ante. It's like, you know, if you are a WWE superstar, if you have two dynamic characters with a tremendous storyline, it just makes that match feel so much bigger. And that's what I feel like right here. Just the whole dynamic as we've been talking, and you know, the whole thing is Son Goku. He's the character who, he knows what it's like to have trust. He's had friends and family depend on him, and as we're about to mention in this next scene, he's had people that have been his enemies and come over to turn into friends, and he knows what it's like to fight for trust. Jiren, on the opposite side, you know, as you've stated, he's had all that once before, and it was swiped away. You know, he's had trust. He's seen his parents die before him. He's gotten friends that had his back, or thought he had his back, and then they betrayed him. So he can't understand trust. Jiren has grown up not knowing what trust is. Goku has grown up with trust. Goku's never had anybody betray him, and I just love the dynamics of how this is all working out in the fight. And one of my favorite parts is right here is the way they did this, basically in the bleachers. Now it's funny too because I felt like Cruden, Piccolo, and Teen Shinha sort of been saying, they've kind of been saying the obvious dumb stuff, basically like, how could Jiren, you know, like, how could Jiren still overcome that power? He got hit with Son Goku's Kamehameha, even though Goku's in his base form, like, duh. And you know, Beerus, like on the previous episode, told him, you lot, shut up. But here, I thought they were much better utilized line-wise. So basically, in the bleachers, while the fight goes on, so basically, I believe Goku,
I love this scene.
Yes, I do too. I love it.
This
is the reason why, one of the reasons I love this episode, and it really just goes to show how this episode is just more about the fighting. But yeah, Goku and Jiren charge at each other, basically, to continue the fight. Oh no! Actually, before I skipped I skipped a part. What happens is Krillin in the Funimation dub, Cruden, in the Japanese version, he basically says, "No matter what, no matter the peril, you've always sprung back. You'll definitely be able to defeat Jiren. I believe in you. So get up, Goku!" And Cruden's voice then motivates Goku to stand back up on his feet as Jiren looks in shock, like he's seen a ghost. He's just in such disbelief. He says, "Impossible! You shouldn't have any more stamina!" And, you know, at this point, I'm thinking, dude, how many times have these people constantly gone in their base form and they shouldn't have had any stamina and yet they're still able to go? You should know this by now. But then Goku, you know, he goes like, "Jiren, it ain't over yet." And Jiren goes like, "How can you still stand after being beaten so many times, Son Goku?" And he says, "Number 17 and Vegeta, and everyone else are trusting me. I swear on their fate, I can never back down now!" And then Jiren gets like, "Such a thing is meaningless before my power." And Goku and Jiren then charge at each other, but they spin around at each other, exchanging more words. And Goku's basically saying, "I'll show you, it ain't meaningless!" And he goes like, "What?" or "Nadato." So then from there, Hakai in the bleachers then mentions that Son Goku's speed has increased further somehow. So yeah, somehow Goku gets extra speed. I mean, these characters, oh man, these powers, scaling super ups in Dragon Ball Super, just one power up out of another out of nowhere. Oh man, they're like the RKOs. These things come out of nowhere for real. So basically, we come to one of your favorite characters, the god of destruction of Universe 7, Belmont, who,
Oh my God.
oh boy, man, I was talking in my last review, I just loved how Vegeta, shut him down, and I had played the audio clip of what you said about him. But, basically, Belmont says, "Impossible! How can this be?" And Piccolo now shuts him down. So I like it. So Piccolo comes in and basically goes like, "You can't even figure that out? Goku isn't fighting for only himself. It's because he's bearing our hopes too." Then this catches Toppo's attention. He's like, And from there we see Goku and Jiren charging at each other in Muten Roshi, Kami Sennin, or as you guys know in Funimation dubs, Master Roshi's glasses. We see the visuals of all of Goku and Jiren charging at each other and the visual of his friend. And Roshi's goes like, states that Piccolo's right. Goku has people who've helped raise each other up. Not only do we all treasure each other greatly, but our existence also gives Goku strength. I'm sure he doesn't believe even for a moment that he came this far by himself. And Krillin then goes like, says, "It's because of that Goku that all of us are here now." So, yeah, basically now they do this really cool style. I know we talked previously about the flashbacks. You know, some people, they like using the retro footage because it acknowledges Dragon Ball's history, and then some people like wish that to make it more consistent, they reanimate it. I think I actually like the method they use here. What they did is they, while Krillin states all the information I'm about to say in the line, they basically show flashbacks of Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, but they've been reanimated with today's technology, but they put a grainy filter over it to kind of make it mimic the footage the way it would have looked back in the 1980s and 90s when Dragon Ball was first released, and I just loved it. They basically go through and they show like all the people, which is actually really cool when you think about it, is that just about to the exception of Gohan and Muten Roshi, everybody on Universe 7's team are people who were either enemies or rivals of Goku at one time, and they eventually saw the light and came over to the good side. So you have Krillin, while they're doing this, he says, "When we first met, some of us fought or were enemies, but here we all are, trusting Goku." Then you have Teen Shinha who comes in, he says, "Even when fighting, he has a way of drawing in those around him. That's just the sort of person Goku is." And it ends with Beerus saying, "Exactly." And Topol then basically, he says, he can kind of see where Universe 7's going at, and he's starting to think that, you know, probably thinking back to what Vegeta told him and why he was wrong. So before we get back to the fight, I know you said you love this scene. I absolutely adored this scene. This really, we've seen Jiren's backstory, and this is kind of like a good refresher, you know, for people who haven't seen Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z. This is kind of a good history lesson, and hopefully this inspires them to go back and watch the series that made us all fall in love so much with the series, with Dragon Ball as a whole. I really adored this, man. I thought it was very emotional. I loved it. I was hanging on every single word that they were saying. I love the animation style they did for the flashback, and it is so true. And I really love it. And that's Goku's story. How Goku, and it's probably one of the reasons I've always loved the Son Goku character. He's my favorite. I felt like I always could relate to Goku. I know Vegeta is definitely a more relatable character, but, you know, just that idea that when you're around friends and you get the feeling that, you know, they all feel good and everything when you're around you, and, you know, you're doing your job as a good friend, because that's what we all are in life. You know, when we're friends, you want to make, when we're all hanging around each other, you know, we want to feel like, we all mean something, and, you know, we all have a good time, and that's the bonds that brings us together. And I really like that about Son Goku's story here, showing it how every person that Goku's met, and they even threw Frieza in there, which I'm like, okay, we know good and well Frieza's going on his own agenda after this, but they're just showing how all these people, because I do think there is respect there between Goku and Frieza. They've earned each other's respects as warriors. So just that whole dynamic of showing how Goku has affected all these people around him that were once against him, but because of the type of person and the unique individual that Son Goku is, he was able to help make these people better. Maybe not so much Frieza, but even in Frieza's case, get him to at least agree to be an ally, and to Frieza has had their back, as we'll talk about later on. I just thought this was really so great, and this is coming right after we're seeing Jiren constantly talk about how he can't understand the whole dynamic of this, and we'll have more to say about that as we move on later. But yeah, man, I love this emotional level of that they put in Dragon Ball. This really added a huge dynamic to the fight for me, and it's one of the reasons, like I said, I love Dragon Ball. The fights are awesome, but when we get this type of storytelling, it's one of the things I kind of always put first and then get to the fights. So yeah, if it sounds like it, yeah, I emotionally love this scene a lot. What is your takes on this scene that they had? This is probably the best scene I think they've done on the bleachers, bar none. But go ahead. What do you say? And please tell me too how you like the animation style they did for the flashbacks.
Oh, the animation is fucking beautiful. There's really nothing deep rooted in that. The animation is freaking beautiful. This scene hit home for two reasons. I really like I love the overlay of just like as they're talking, you have the silhouette of Goku and Jiren.
Oh, I forgot to mention that. Yeah. Hey, before you go on, let me just mention that. I forgot to mention that the one thing I like about this, so many times in anime, you have one character, they're charging each other, they're like, and then they go to these flashbacks that or this off-scene stuff that takes up about like of people watching the fight that takes up about like a 1 minute or 90 seconds, and then we go right back to the fight where they're charging each other. Like, were they legitimately charging at each other that long? I like this dynamic of how they showed the fight was still going on as they were talking. So I forgot to mention that. Go ahead.
Yeah, like the fact that you have that, but what I liked about it is, so as you have Tien talking about, even as we were fighting, Goku has, that ability to just draw people in. If you pay attention to the scenes that they picked, it was all scenes, no lie, outside of, like you said, Roshi and Gohan. Every scene that they showed Goku competing against Krillin. They showed Goku fighting Tien. They showed Goku fighting Piccolo. They showed the beam struggle between Goku and Vegeta. They showed the fight with him and Frieza. And then they showed 17 and 18 just kind of smiling. And I can't remember what battle that was of.
They probably showed it just because 17,
because they never fought. They didn't even meet Goku face to face.
Yeah, Junagano and Juhachi go. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Junagano and Juhachigo, Goku had gone down with the heart virus, so they faced all his allies, and yeah, Goku did not get to meet Juhachigo until the early part of the Buu saga when he went to the Tenkaichi Budokai. That's the world tournament. For those of you who've only watched the Funimation dub. And then he obviously just now in Super got to meet 17. So yeah, that's the reason why they kind of just had to kind of show that show that scene like that.
So with the exception of that, if you look at
but their mission was to kill Goku, so that's the reason why they showed it like that.
Exactly, and I'm stating that because you got to remember they're showing all of these scenes in the background of Goku fighting Jiren. And what this goes to show, it makes those words hit even harder because, long story short, Krillin, Piccolo, Tien are all saying, and I think Beerus even feels this too, which is why he kind of co-signs it with the exactly, because Beerus has fought Goku too. What you gotta understand is that Goku, his innate, and we were talking about this earlier before we dove into the cast, but Goku is always fighting or training, and he does it. It goes back to what he said when he first fought Jiren before he got back to his Ultra Instinct. When they have that conversation, and Jiren asks him, "Son Goku, why do you want to get stronger?" And Goku says, "I don't know. I just want to get stronger. That's all." It goes back to that. Goku doesn't really care about strength or power. He just likes pushing himself. So when he reaches or crosses a certain plateau, his next goal just for himself as a person is, how do I get stronger? And in doing that, he does it with the intention of also trying to help everybody else. Vegeta says it best in the Resurrection of F movie. And I love that line. I was actually watching a clip of that today. When Frieza calls him down to finish off Goku, and Vegeta says it, and line for line, it fits so perfectly here. But Vegeta tells Frieza, "Thanks for the offer, but I'm gonna have to decline. As annoying as this bastard is, it's our rivalry that continues to push me to get stronger." And that's the perfect way to describe Goku as a character. It's because he himself is always pushing himself. Everybody else is trying to do the same. Vegeta more so than others, obviously, but everybody else, if you notice, always tries to do their best. Even if they know they have their own limitations, they try to do their best, and they use Goku as kind of that standard, that guiding light. You know what I'm saying? That hope. That's the best word to put it. That hope. And because he brings that, that's what draws people to him. So when you see that, it just shows. And then when you look at the different characters, somebody who was as cruel and cold-hearted as Vegeta, him being able to earn the respect of somebody like Frieza who thinks everybody's beneath him being able to change somebody like Piccolo who was essentially born evil, him being able, like, when you think about that, it hits harder because now he's fighting against his complete polar opposite in Jiren. He's fighting against his complete polar opposite in Jiren. And the fact that you've heard Jiren's backstory, and then to see that flashback and hear about Goku's character and see his backstory from beginning to current, it just fits so much better. Because it's just another obstacle for Goku to try to overcome, to be that hope for his team, literally, because they'll die if he loses. But you see, it just fits. It fits so well here.
Absolutely, man. I totally agree. It's one of the reasons why Jiren's backstory, I know at first a lot of people were saying, and a lot of people still do, and I don't blame him. I know a lot of people feel that Jiren's backstory is generic and everything, and they like, this is what we waited a year for. But you know, I said at the time, I'm just glad we got something. But these last few episodes, the way they have incorporated the backstory, because I did always say from the start, the backstory made sense to explain why Jiren is the way he is. But the fact that how we've seen it kind of play out in this fight with Goku, and just the dynamics once again of them, and how they both have basically grown up different with their life experience, and how it comes to this moment. Destiny has brought them together. This moment, it's I really am definitely can say I really am enjoying Jiren's backstory, just because of how it ties into everything, and the way this ties in a fight. Like, from a story standpoint, this fight has definitely exceeded my expectations, because I just thought Jiren's just gonna be a big strong guy with no backstory that Goku has to overcome. But now this has become so much more, and it's so much more. And I guess the way they're hinting at is how Goku can possibly affect Jiren, and you know, that happens in life. You know, two people have two different paths they've taken in life, and they come together, and one might be able to come over and maybe show them something better that they weren't able to get before. You know, that's how it works. But definitely getting to the story, I'm glad we both enjoyed that. And I'm just gonna, last one point I'll make before we move on here is I love how all Beerus could say is exactly. He kind of just acknowledges, like, I ain't even gonna lie. I won't even lie.
Yeah.
This bastard's had an effect on me too.
But yeah, I mean, come on now. What did Beerus tell him after the fight? He was like, now destroy the Earth, when Goku lost to him, and he just blew up a rock. And he was like, now blowing up a part of the Earth. Like, what?
And he was legit concerned when he thought Goku got killed by his own Genki Dama the first time when him and Jiren faced out. Yeah.
Don't tell me this is it.
Yeah.
I was like, wait.
I dare say he showed more emotion and worried and concern over Goku than his own brother, which I wish they would have followed up on that. But yeah, but I think we'll get to see more of Champ and Beerus later. So basically, we engage into the third part of this battle. So basically, Son Goku and Jiren continue to fight all over the stage at ultra speeds. Goku lands a punch on Jiren's face. He lands a punch on Jiren's face. Jiren then fires back with a punch that Goku blocks with his forearm. Goku then punches Jiren's arm away. As Goku dodges all of Jiren's strikes, Jiren goes for a spinning back kick, and then it sends Son Goku spinning away. But Goku rebounds by landing on his feet. Jiren comes flying in with a kick, and Goku gets out of the way as Jiren ends up doing nothing but breaking the ground. Goku then shoots an air ki blast. That's right, you heard that right if you haven't seen the episode. Of course, I don't know why you should watch it before hearing this, but yeah, he uses an air ki blast, which I think is a technique he used earlier in the tournament. But this air ki blast basically hits Jiren in the gut and sounds like it punches him multiple times. Jiren then fires back with a barrage of flaming ki blasts that Goku manages to dodge while still charging at Jiren by doing flips and cartwheels. Like, man, Goku was just, oh boy, the gymnastics of Goku on this episode was on point. Goku then jumps up into the air, spinning for one big punch that nails Jiren right in the chest, then sends Jiren flying down into more rubble, pinning him up against the wall, very similar to how Son Goku himself was pinned to the wall in the anime's version of the fight with Majin Vegeta. So that's just to give you guys an idea. Now this is where we get to more of this wonderful storytelling between Goku and Jiren. So after Goku says basically that this is our power, Jiren, Jiren basically gets even more angry because he cannot cope with the fact that Goku is doing all this just based off of trust and friendship, because Jiren basically goes like, who cares about friendship? Who cares about trust? And Jiren basically gets more flashbacks in the past in his head while stating, to accept that would be to deny everything that I've ever been. I won't believe in such power, such a thing. Jiren then blows out of the rubble and he was pinned to, and forms another flaming ki blast. And yeah, basically his line is, such a thing is easily erased. And what happens is, now this is the part that I admit it got me in the first part. he sends a ki blast up to the bleachers aimed right towards the team members of Universe 7. Now, everyone but Vegeta, Beerus, and Whis are absolutely terrified. Goku uses the instantaneous movement, instant transmission in the Funimation dub, to teleport in front of them and smack the blast to another part of rubble that's floating in the distance. And then basically, before we get into this next part, because I've got quite a bit to say about Son Goku in this next part, man, now... You want to talk about something that made fans, including myself, when I first saw it, I'm talking about my initial first viewing, my jaw dropped. I jumped out of my seat and I was like, Goku, beat him, beat his butt, beat him, beat him. I was irate. I wanted Son Goku to lay the smack down so bad upon Jiren for this, because to me I was like, I cannot believe it. It felt like that Ribrianne, like I was like, oh no she didn't, when she called Cruden ugly, just gonna dog the woman's husband right in front of her. This is like, wow, I cannot believe, like, you know, I know Jiren's a good guy, but for him to go ahead and take his ki blast and aim it to try and kill Son Goku's friend, I'm like, way too much. Goku needs to destroy this dude, because I'm thinking like, oh my gosh, you know, and this is a good way to kind of like have Jiren, for the wrestling term, heal it up. That was my initial first thought of the viewing, but of course, after I calmed down, because I get so hyped watching these episodes on my first viewing, I think it's important for all of us to remember here, is that Jiren basically, he basically got a he got so frustrated, you know, he's lost sight of that. Like he let his anger get the better part of him, because he wanted to send a message to Goku that he's trying to say, you know, I've been through that. I've had friends and they betrayed me. Everyone's betrayed me. I've had nothing but to depend on but my power. So I'm going to show you the same thing too, Goku. Everything can be gone in an instant. And he shoots the ki blast towards him, and everything. Now, let's talk about something that I thought was really funny. This was not at all necessary for Goku to do this. Notice I said Vegeta, because he probably knew who he was sitting with. And you know, Beerus and Whis, they weren't going to get afraid. You had all those angels and gods up there. Of course, they could have created a barrier to throw this away. There wasn't a lot of Zeno in this episode, honestly. I was like, man, he was so quick to erase Frost, and he didn't even do it with Beerus. I mean, he didn't even do it with Jiren. So this felt like a moment that either Toriyama wrote in the manuscripts, or the writers of Dragon Ball Super wrote just to kind of just get that heel heat on Jiren and everything. But I think it is important to remember, Jiren basically was frustrated. He lost control of himself, trying to prove a point, because he is so irate that Son Goku is lasting this long and doing this well in a fight with him, just basically on the fact that he has trust with his friends. So yeah, this was a part that dropped my jaw. So I think it's very well played in terms of trying to get us to, you know, hate the antagonist Jiren. But like I said, if you really think about it, Jiren is basically, he's just that fed up, you know. It's like anyone who gets fed up with something and they go off the rail, and they have to come back and apologize and say, oh, you know, I'm sorry, I was totally out of the line there. I just lost grip of myself there. So yeah, what was your thoughts on this part of the fight, man? This is a big one. Like, wow, I didn't see it coming. I don't think none of us, because we all knew that at the end of the day, Jiren's a good dude, but wow. Yikes, that's going too far. And I will say, that was a jerk thing to do. That was a jerk move to do. Wow. Go ahead, though.
I actually didn't have an issue with what he did, believe it or not.
Mm-hmm.
For one reason, and you hit it right on the head. You have freaking Beerus and Whis on top of all of the other gods of destruction and angels sitting in that balcony. Like, do you really think for 1 second any of them were about to take a L? Nah.
Oh man, yeah. You know,
nah.
I think do you like, though, Jiren having the temporary moment lapse in judgment, though, because he's so frustrated? This fight with Goku has got him so frustrated.
To be fair,
it's challenging everything.
I don't think it was a lapse in judgment. I think he knew Goku was gonna deflect it.
He probably did. He probably did.
Because
that could be
the
a
immediate
true
response, you got to think about it. His immediate response after that was such a thing as easily erased, just like that. And he's talking about the Rock.
Yeah, his exact line. Yeah, when Goku comes down, when Goku comes down, he's like, you. And Jiren basically says, the power you believe in is easily erased, just like that. As we see the shot of the rubble in the rock. And I'll get to the next point afterwards of the fight. But yeah, I do agree that was his point he was trying to make. Yeah, he probably knew. Or, he probably knew, hey, the gods are going to destroy this. Hey, you notice, though, maybe it was better to use Goku? You think they didn't want to go ahead and I dare say bury. Yeah, they didn't want to bury Jiren. Like, could you imagine if Beerus would have just took his fingernail like he did that? Remember at the beginning of Super when he took his fingernail and basically destroyed an entire half a planet, or he blew up a planet? Like, imagine Jiren just Beerus takes his fingernail and it like blows up, like bam. Like, I think maybe they're trying to keep us guessing, like, how strong is Migate no Gokiwi Goku? So we'll have Goku smack it. It's just funny. I kind of thought, like, Goku rushed up there. Did you forget Goku, who they're sitting with? Do you think Beerus and Whis were really gonna sure, they can destroy Universe 17. They're fighting so that it's not getting destroyed, or they're putting all their trust in you. But I know what they were trying to go with for this.
Even if he had second guesses on Beerus blocking that blast, Whis is sitting right behind him.
Hey, dude. All right.
What?
Hey, I just thought of something. Goku teleported right in front of that bleachers. Wouldn't that count as out of bounds?
No, actually, it wouldn't, because he didn't touch anything.
I'm just saying, but he's out of the bounds, because the way it works is when you fall off the stage, you get instantly teleported to the bleachers. So I was wondering, but as we talked about before.
No, not that. The reason why that wouldn't count, like I said, he didn't touch it. If he would have touched the bleachers, he would have been out of bounds. Goku didn't touch the bleachers because it's no different than like when Jiren fell. Remember, he fell pretty far, and then what he did was blow up the rock so he could step on the pebbles back up to the stage. So it's the same concept. Like, Goku literally instant transmission. Well, he jumped first. Because I'm about to say, that little blue, like, blast that you see, that's Goku actually jumping from where he was. He jumped, smacked the blast out the way, and then I believe he instant transmission back onto the rock.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Because he couldn't touch anything, otherwise he would have been out of bounds. So, yeah, he had to instant transmission back onto the rock.
True. So Goku really, he played it close there, or something was necessary. But I understand what they were trying to do. So we're gonna get to, oh boy, yeah. I'm gonna take a sip of the water right here for the Working Man, classic tribute to Stone Cold Steve Austin on this podcast. And as they'd like to say in anime, after they drink some water. It cracks me up every time they do that.
That's anybody.
I know they take some
anime, commercials, cartoons, reality TV, regular TV, movies.
I didn't start doing it until I was watching anime, and I would take a sip of water. But yeah, man. But hey, anyway, so this is where I do this all the time, man. I'm listening every time I drive every day. I'm listening to this in my car. I can't get enough of this theme. So after Jiren has that exchange of words, we see Son Goku is getting pissed. He is angry. And it's going down when you hear Norihito Sumitomo's The Final Death Match theme play. The dun 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 dun. And I love that song. Oh my gosh, it's been stuck in my head, man. I work out to that theme. It gets me really pumped up. So yeah, man, Goku is getting angry here, and this is where he goes like, and I love it. I love this line. And no, I'm gonna go.
He had a Frieza flashback.
Oh, dude, yeah, this reminded me of the Frieza saga, and we're gonna definitely say this line and segue into some discussion of the Son Goku character. So basically, here we go. I love this line. As a Son Goku fan, I love this line. So Goku says, "I don't think I'm a hero of justice or anything, but to those who hurt my friends, I won't forgive." Oh man, you want to talk about a line that is interesting? You could say this line almost sort of embodies Son Goku. We're going to take a moment to go from Dragon Ball Super, and we're gonna go back to Dragon Ball Z, the Funimation dub, the original Japanese line, Dragon Ball Kai, and I've got some quotes here from an interview of Toriyama almost 2 decades ago in a recent interview, and we can let's break down a little bit of Son Goku's character here, because there's a lot of fans out there who see Goku as a very heroic person. Then there's another side of fans out there who see Son Goku as a very selfish character. And, you know, it's kind of like
I'm on that side.
Oh, here we go. You got this thing. You know, selfish character. You know, because I grew up with the Funimation dub first, I was on the heroic side. But as I grew more as a Dragon Ball fan, and learning more about Goku, like when I became a teenager and I just started researching Dragon Ball a lot back in the 2000s, I started learning more about the Son Goku character. I kind of like, oh man, it's more on the selfish side, but now I'm kind of like, it is really a neutral blend to him. So basically, here's a line that I really like this line. So yeah, let's think about this line. Son Goku says that he doesn't consider himself a hero of justice or anything, but to those who hurt his friends, he won't forgive them. So it's a very vengeful line, and him saying he's not heroic. So let's go back to the original Japanese line, where it's one of the classic speeches where Son Goku gets hit with one of Frieza's ki blasts, and Frieza's wondering, what is he? And Goku says in the Japanese version,
"You can destroy the whole planet, but it seems you can't even destroy a single man. Huh. Yes, you are surely well aware. I am the Saiyan who came from Earth to defeat you. Despite my calm, quiet heart, I am the legendary warrior, awakened by an
singly little tingly backfilling in my back." I'm just kidding. That's our recent information, but
Stop.
back then,
Stop.
what the original line.
I didn't realize what you said. Don't mention that.
But of course, before we knew of tingly backfillings to form
Kappa,
Super Saiyan,
I hate you.
It was, as Goku said,
by intense anger. I am a Super Saiyan, Son Goku!
And then we go to the Dragon Ball Z dub, which was dubbed and released in
Don't do it.
1999,
Don't do it.
where,
Please
you know,
don't.
I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys out there who didn't follow the Japanese version.
Good. Nightmare to you.
Dude, let's go down nostalgia. Back when we both grew up with the Funimation dub first. It is what it is.
Oh, I hated this line back then.
So we had the Z-Lump where it was,
"You can destroy planets, but you can never destroy what I am, friend. I am the hope of the universe. I am the answer to all living things that cry out for peace. I am the protector of the innocent. I am the light in the darkness. I am truth. Ally to God, nightmare to you."
oh, that's so much nostalgia, but I laugh when you know when you learn who the Son Goku character is. Hey, no, man. Sean Schimmel. Oh boy, you know what? I think even Sean Schimmel himself. Yeah, I went to the panel at C2E2 a few years ago. He said himself he loves the Kai dub so much better because he see how much he's come far as a voice actor. And yeah, you could just hear it in the performance, because Sean Schimmel's 1999 performance compared to his 2000 teens performance, the difference is night and day. His 1999 performance just pales in comparison to the ones in 2000 teens that he did for Kai and so forth. Even some of the video games before Kai, you could really hear how far he's come as a voice actor. So yeah, you know, they finally changed that in the Kai dub in the early 2000 teens. By this time, you know, Sean Schimmel and all the voice actors are much more established, and the Kai version is so much better, so much more closer to the English version, to the Japanese version, and just more embodying who Son Goku is. And that's where he says,
"You haven't figured it out yet? I am the Saiyan that came all the way from Earth for the sole purpose of beating you. I am the warrior you've heard of in legends, pure of heart and awakened by fury. That's what I am. I am the Super Saiyan, Son Goku!"
Oh boy, that was a nice little history lesson for all you guys. And this is why I'm very, interested to see how Funimation is gonna handle this line. Now, I think the super dub is much better than the if you've been watching it on Adult Swim is the recording of this. I think it's much better than what the Dragon Ball Z dub was back then. And the reason why I bring this line up in all three variations of it is because when you think about it, the whole "I don't think I'm a hero of justice or anything, but those who hurt my friends I won't forgive" really does really does basically completely, you know, I think not that was Toei's Animation's intention, but I think it really craps on the original Dragon Ball Z dub and everything on that, because that's not what Goku was. The original Funimation dub did try to make Goku out to be more heroic than what he actually is. And this is what brings me to and this is the thing I was telling you about that we talked about before we went ahead and started recording here. I want to bring up from Kazenshu website, if you want to really expound on your knowledge as a Dragon Ball fan, I really highly recommend going to this website. It's one of the most credible, if not the most credible, Dragon Ball news website out there for English fans. I've been following them going back into, like, I want to say the mid 2000s, back when it was Daizenshu. But anyway, they had a recent interview up here, and this is going to be interesting. So these are some actual quotes from the website that I grabbed. So in a January 1997 interview with Akira Toriyama, he actually talked about how he felt about the way Son Goku was portrayed in the anime version of Dragon Ball. So the interview from 1997, Toriyama Akira states, he says, "There's how, basically, Son Goku from Dragon Ball doesn't fight for the sake of others, but because he wants to fight against strong guys. So once Dragon Ball got animated, at any rate, I've always been dissatisfied with the righteous hero type of portrayal they've gave him. I guess I couldn't quite get them to grasp the elements of poison that slip in and out of sight among the shadows." Now, basically almost 2 decades later, Toriyama did a more recent interview. I think it was with him, a special talk with him and Masako Nozawa, voice actress for Son Goku. And it actually, you know, we know Akira Toriyama can forget a lot of things, but he actually still remembers. He does remember how he wants Goku to be portrayed. And this is what he said in his most recent interview, and it still kind of mirrors what he said almost 2 decades ago. He says, "At any rate, I wanted him to have this sense of being that rare guy who seeks only to become stronger than before, so much so that it feels like there's no one as pure as this person, and while he does end up saving everyone as a result of that, he himself at least has a very pure sincerity about wanting to become stronger. What I wanted to depict the most was the sense that he might not be a good guy at all, although he does do good things as a result." And that is from the man himself, Akira Toriyama, at what he wants Son Goku to be and how he portrays Goku. Find it very interesting that he says he wants it to be where Goku, he's not exactly not be a good guy because he's very selfish, but hey, because of who he is and the friends around him, you know, he does end up doing, you know, good things as a result. Like, it's like, I guess what I'm trying to say is like, it's like Goku, he does do good things that would come off kind of heroic, but kind of more so for the selfish reasons. And it's why Goku really is a blend of being, he has his heroic moments, but he has his selfish moments. There are different parts of Son Goku's character, and I do like it because it shows that Son Goku, like anybody, they might have their good qualities, but they might not have their not so good qualities, because no one among us here on Earth is perfect. So this is the reason why I really love this line, and I wanted to go ahead and just give that history lesson for people who might be familiar. So based on all that, as we went down memory lane with that line from the Frieza saga, and I think that was your first time hearing both those little snippets from those interviews with Toriyama and that whole line itself, what's your thoughts on all this, Linux?
Nothing really too crazy, actually. To be fair, I've always kind of, like I said, I'm on the side of fans who think Goku's a selfish person. And if anything, that helps my argument, because at the end of the day, he's a Saiyan. And that's what they do. You know, no shade, no nothing. Like, he They fight to get stronger. They fight to push themselves. They fight for whatever personal reason there is. But at the end of the day, a Saiyan's primary goal is to fight. They're a warrior race. So with that being said, it'd be almost stupid if Goku wasn't that type of character. You see what I mean? Like, I get it. If they wanted him to be different, that's fine. But, like, it'd be kind of weird if he wasn't. I never pegged him as a hero. I just pegged him as somebody who just likes to fight. And so the fact that Toriyama kind of wants him to be that guy that isn't really a good guy, just so like, he's kind of like, the best way to describe Goku, in all honesty, or to get the point across of how he's supposed to be from Toriyama's standpoint, is anybody who's a fan of Cowboy Bebop should really compare Goku to Spike Spiegel. Because Spike is not a good guy. He's not. He's not a good guy in the least. But Spike does good things through the bounties that he takes on. You see what I mean? He has his own personal code of honor, there's that, and the third. So there's obviously certain things Spike won't do. But at the same time, Spike is not a good guy.
I agree, dude. You know, I think you can even apply it as we are professional wrestling fans. And you brought this up to me in one time when we were talking. You were like, as much as we love guys like The Undertaker, The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, these are not really good guys. Steve Austin, he goes way over the top to go against authority and rules that are set in place to make things, you know, have order. The Undertaker, he does a lot of demonic, evil things to characters, and The Rock is super egotistical in terms of the character, but we love them anyway, the good characters. And I think, you know, let's take Stone Cold Steve Austin, for example. The honorable thing about Stone Cold's character is that he wanted to fight on his own, and, you know, he said if he loses the title, like if Dude Love beat him for the title, he didn't mind, you know, it's fine because that means he was good enough to get the job done. But all the stuff that he did to start the mess up with his boss and all the authorities, those weren't all bad things. But if you kind of get where I'm bringing it, I'm just saying that, you know, these are like good guy characters who have their good qualities, their honorable qualities, but at the end of the day, they're not so good when it comes from a moral standpoint. Maybe that's an extreme point, but you kind of get what I'm saying?
Oh no, I'm literally taking from the Wreck-It Ralph.
Mm-hmm.
They're good guy, but not good guy.
Oh yeah, for sure. But yeah, man, I don't know if you weren't familiar, but yeah, there's a large fan base out there in terms of Son Goku that are split. You know, they split. They want to see Goku as the heroic type.
Understand it.
They want to see Goku as the selfish type, and there's those that I feel like they're kind of neutral in there. And I kind of, like I said, I fall in the neutral category. I can see where he has his qualities, and I love it. I love it. Love that Son Goku is not a perfect character.
Yeah, no, Goku.
He has
like
his
I said,
flaws.
it comes with the nature of being a Saiyan. I don't think there's any Saiyan in this series that is a perfect character. Even Gohan is a flawed character. Trunks, flawed character. Vegeta, flawed character. Goku, flawed character. Like, anybody that's a Saiyan has a natural built-in flaw. They're all overly about something.
For sure, and that's what allows us to relate to all these characters, because, you know, we all as humans, we all have our flaws about them, and, you know, that's probably the reason why I know, not the swag way, I know that's probably why you can't stand Superman, right?
Don't.
We won't be getting into any comic book debates, but yeah. But anyways, let's move on to the last part of the action of the episode here. So, getting back to the action. Son Goku powers up and charges straight at Jiren. Goku flies right through all the debris of rubble and nails Jiren with what I'm gonna say is one of the all-time best punches to the jaw. Man, the animation spiked up, I'm gonna say like Vegeta, over 8,000! Oh, man. And yes, you guys heard that right, over 8,000. And then from there, From there, man, yeah, Jiren, you see it in slow motion. Goku looks completely irate. They then engage in fast super ultra combat, but Goku blocks all of Jiren's strikes and tosses him over the shoulder. Jiren goes in for a punch, but Goku quickly speeds behind Jiren, then he basically strikes him in the back, and then speeds under him and punches him into the gut, sending Jiren flying upwards with his body spinning out of control. Jiren lands on another bit of floating rubble and powers up. Goku charges right to Jiren, who fires another flaming ki blast. Goku, while still charging, spins around evading them, and the way that Son Goku evades them, if you were to slow it down in slow motion, he actually uses a blue ki ball made from his aura to slide all around Jiren's attack. It is really epic. Big shout out to Notoshi Shida, who I believe was the animator for this scene. Oh my gosh, it's really one of those cool little subtle things. And then they both collide fists. They start fighting everywhere as Jiren and Goku go all out through what's left of the stage. At this point, they basically are engulfed in their own auras and they're fighting all over the place. I describe it as looking like two fireworks going at it. Like, it is crazy. It's a beautiful fight, obviously. It's just crazy. So, basically, they're going all over the place. Goku and Jiren start sliding down opposite rocks. They're then falling and then they engage in ultra high speed combat again, but Goku knocks Jiren to the ground. Jiren then rebounds on his feet. Goku lands on his feet. Goku keeps the pressure on, and this is where you get Vegeta. He's getting riled up. He's all Vegeta's in the bleacher. He stands up and he says, "Go, Kakarot! Beat Jiren for us!" Oh man, you know, Goku, just seeing Vegeta really embrace how much he gets behind Goku. Once again, tremendous character development. I can't say enough wonderful things about Toriyama for the wonderful character development he's done. Vegeta would have, you know, it's so much better than, you know, Vegeta, who was salty during the Cell Saga. He realized Goku was the only one that could beat him before we found out Gohan, but he was so jealous, and now Vegeta, you know, just completely, you know, not letting it get to him. Tremendous character development. So from here, Goku then runs up and he jumps to charge at Jiren, and from there he uses his eye technique that usually, now the thing about this eye technique is this eye technique from Jiren usually stops everything. Like we saw when Frieza was gonna try to come at him with a fatal attack and Jiren quickly turned his eyes, and that's like the big thing, but Goku manages to block it and spreads the ki blast away from Jiren's eyes with both his arms. The technique usually works, so this is why Jiren once again does the dreaded humbled Jiren face. Oh! So angry Jiren then starts unleashing a barrage of punches, but Goku is able to dodge all the strikes. Then Jiren misses the last punch with Goku, and Goku goes right under him, and then he basically, there's a slight pause in the animation, and it looks, the artwork is tremendous, by the way, and then he unleashes a savage uppercut to Jiren's jaw. Jiren is sent upwards in a tremendous amount of pain. He's like, "Argh!" And then from there, Goku unleashes a huge Kamehameha, completely engulfs Jiren's whole body. It completely engulfs his whole body, leaving him screaming in complete agony. He's like, "Ah!" Oh my gosh, we have never heard Jiren in so much pain. So then from there, the Kamehameha sends him into a bunch of rubble. There's a big explosion, the smoke clears, and then the moment we have all been waiting for over a year. A completely exhausted Jiren is helpless on the ground in utter defeat as Goku looks down clearly at this point as the victor. We have finally seen it, ladies and gentlemen. We have finally seen Jiren defeated at this point, for so it seems. And what can we all get? It's what Linux told me before we started recording is Belmont's favorite word. To me, Belmont's favorite word was Bacchanal, but here it was Jiren! Yeah! Hey, I gotta do the Floyd Mayweather. Yeah! All that stuff you was talking, Belmont. Go ahead, say it again. Yeah! Oh my gosh, yeah, man. So basically, Jiren at this point, he's down, he says, "Why don't you finish me?" Goku says,
A guy like you probably already realizes what I'm talking about.
Jiren then basically looks away in shame, asking, just wondering why Son Goku doesn't finish him off and throw him away from the stage. And then this is good right here. So Beerus basically yells out,
"What are you doing, Goku? Hurry up!"
And then Goku begins to form a golden ki blast. Now, I was wondering myself, like, yeah, what's taking so long? And I was like, oh no, don't tell me we're gonna get naive Goku here. Don't tell me he's gonna give him ki so he can have more fair fight. I was like, hopefully not. That's the way it looked like, but it wasn't. Goku's actually was firing up a blast to finish off Jiren, and Jiren closes his eyes and accepts defeat. And then, basically what happens here, and the way they animated this, because, you know, since, it's basically, Super is geared towards kids, they don't have it on, later on in Japan, like Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball was, which is why we got so much cool, bloody action at times. So they do this thing where the way they animated it looks like Goku, before he could do the final blow, coughs up blood out of his mouth, and he gets this tremendous amount of blood, like someone took a sword and slit it up his back. Like, I'm thinking, oh snap, Frieza must have betrayed him or something. That's what I'm thinking at the time. So Goku's body falls down, there's like this smoke, it's steaming from his body, and it's getting engulfed in this purple black energy, and to the point that Goku's pupils disappear in his eyes. And I'm like, what happens? So Whis explains, the limit-breaking power of the gods. I didn't think the toll would be this great. And then, so basically what he's saying is, Son Goku, mastered Migate no Goku Son Goku body has succumbed because it was not able to master the mastered Migate no Gokui form. So even though Son Goku's Migate no Gokui form was mastered, he couldn't master it, and so his body can't take it. That's what I was thinking at the time. Like, okay. I know there's a lot of people out there that did not like this story element right here. And stuff. So, before we get to the last part of this, let's just get to let's just talk about this last scenery. Goku completely outclassed Jiren and got the absolute best. This is what the story had been building up towards for all this time. Man, I thought this was tremendous. The animation was excellent. It definitely brought back good memories of the Frieza saga when Goku went irate on Frieza. Now, a lot of people actually don't like this, and I gotta admit, I wasn't expecting this. I was expecting, okay, Goku's mastered Migate no Gokui, so it's gonna be an idea where, like, if anything, they both get exhausted. A lot of people don't like this. You know, we've seen this so many times in Dragon Ball at this point. We've seen it with Gotenks, you know, about to finish Super Buu off. Then they split the fusion. Vegito about to finish off Zamasu, and then they split. Goku supposedly having the power to beat Kid Buu, but his SSJ3 power fails him. This is something they constantly go to in Dragon Ball, and I know there's a lot of fans out there that feel like, okay, this is ridiculous at this point. Like, can they not come up with any more creative ways to end the fight than the typical character gets new power-up form, but it's too much for them to control, so it falls out. Yeah, I would have preferred this in a better way in terms of Goku's power. Like, if Goku's gonna go down, let it be because him and Jiren were that evenly matched. What was your thought on the conclusion to Goku and Jiren's fight here?
Conclusion.
You gotta think about it.
Well, because it's not that. I had this fight ending actually one of two ways. I had this fight going either with both of them fighting to time ran out, and then Jiren forgetting Frieza was still around. Or I had this happening, and I was actually kind of mad I was right. But something kept telling me, only because it's been a reoccurring thing. And we hinted at this, I forget how many episodes back. I think he hinted at it after the Kefla fight, if I'm not mistaken. But the first time Goku goes Migate no Gokui, the first time he does it and Jiren beats him, they chalk it up to him running out of stamina, which was true. Goku was tapped out as far as energy.
Mm-hmm.
The second time, after he taps into it, and beats Kefla, Whis says when he powers down that pushing one's limits also causes acclimation. For those of you who may not know what that means, it means the further Goku kept pushing himself, the more his body was starting to adjust. And so it was becoming harder and harder for him to reach his limit, because the more he kept doing it, the more his body was just becoming natural and accustomed to doing it. So it's not like he was really breaking a limit, but more so just doing what he's already done before. And so Whis goes to say, like, the more he pushes to break his limit, the more potential it becomes in terms of causing acclimation. And then Whis says something along the lines of, I wonder what it will take before we see that state again, or something along those lines.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning he didn't know, or he was questioning how far Goku himself was going to be able to push his body to get to that state before it tapped out or before something bad happened. And that's why Whis wasn't shocked when it happened to Goku. And he blatantly says, the limit breaking power of a god, I did not think it would have this. He said, I did not think it would have this devastating of an effect. Which means he knew it was going to happen, but he didn't think it was going to be as bad as what was happening.
Yeah,
So,
I know they saved that line for there, and I guess that was just to say that Whis expected this, but he wasn't hoping it. Yeah.
well, he wasn't expecting it then.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he knew it was going to happen. He was just hoping it wasn't going to happen mid-fight.
I guess what I meant to kind of say is that that line is placed there so that we, the audience, can understand that that to make it seem more like this was bound to happen, and that's why Whis is supposed to confirm that. So yeah. But I will say, you say you were mad that you were wrong on this, basically, that this is how they decided to get us to the next episode.
No, I'm mad I was right, because I wanted there to be more of a clear finish.
Right.
I didn't really want Goku to crap out, and I was hoping that he wouldn't. Or if he was, I wanted it to happen and that be kind of like the segue to what they were going to do with the Super Dragon Balls and this, that, and the third. You know what I mean?
Right.
I was expecting more of a plot twist in that type of situation. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not dissatisfied with what happened. I'm just mad that I was right.
Right.
Yeah,
it is what it is. It's not. I won't say it kills the whole arc or anything like that. But it's like, I think maybe people just wanted to see something that was more creative, because we've seen it so many times all throughout Dragon Ball. Yeah. Now, hey, before we get to the final part of this episode, what was it like for you to finally see Jiren get humbled in this episode after a year of watching this one episode at a time? Sometimes they skipped a few weeks, but to finally see Jiren finally get taken to the limit. This is what this has been building up for. And granted, don't get me wrong, I would have loved for it to have been Vegeta in this spot, because it would have made it feel so much more better. But at least they did come up with, I thought, a pretty good story to tie these in together. But how did you feel, being that this is largely what this whole arc was building up towards, Jiren finally being put in this position? Were you satisfied, I guess I should say, to see Jiren get beaten down like this?
To be fair, he really didn't get beat that bad. He just got hit in the face and then hit with a Kamehameha wave.
Right, that's why I said the word outclass, because I think nobody gets it worse than Frieza.
Yeah, no, Frieza got bodied. Like, the definition of bodied. I mean, it doesn't make me feel bad. And to be fair, I don't even think he was humbled. He just got beat. Because he still held on to, and that's the thing that I like. Jiren still was Jiren, even when he lost.
Oh, so, yeah. That doesn't mind. That was the point I was going to bring up later on when we finally got to this. That Jiren, he held on to who he is, because he doesn't believe in trust because of the life experiences he has, and he held on to that to this fight. So, unlike Toppo, whether it be for better or worse, Jiren, you can't say, did not give up who he is, and I did like that aspect. So I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, man, like that. I think that's really why I'm not angry about it. Jiren never stopped being Jiren. you know, not for a second. He never stopped being Jiren. So, you know, I was happy at the end of the day. I couldn't really be mad at that.
Yeah, that's really cool. I got you. I'm probably just gotten so hyped up into the whole idea. Like I said, I know I know Toei Animation is trying to try to sway the audience into hating Jiren at points, and or obviously it probably works on me. So it's cool to see him get humbled, just because for so long we didn't get to see it. But yeah, so yeah, let's definitely go into the closing moments of this episode. Basically, oh, this guy. Belmon. Belmon tells Jiren to knock Goku off while he has the chance so he can get the Super Dragon Balls. He's in desperation mode. He mentions how there's very little time left. Got a little something to say about this. What's your thoughts here with me? He wants Jiren to not waste any more time because there's very little time left, and he has the opportunity. Because I mean, when you think about it, Goku and Vegeta in their base forms were so strong that they were still too powerful for Jiren to knock off after he powered up. Here's my deal, and I told you this. I told you this too. What the heck is he waiting for? Jiren could have been kicked Frieza off, and you saw that episode. He could have been kicked Goku and Vegeta, and now they're like desperation. Like seriously, 2 minutes.
Oh, he could have.
2 minutes. We're not gonna worry about it. Oh, there's only seconds on the clock. Do it now. I would have been seen it. How many times? Like legitimately, don't care how anyone puts it. Jiren could have been had this thing won. He gave them everything.
To be fair, we've seen this once before when Goku fought Hit, and Champa was like, "Why won't you?" Oh, so when Goku was going Kaioken for the first time, right? And when he's fighting Hit, remember Champa?
Oh, with the Hit, okay, not the Vegeta
yells, and he's like, "Hit, do it now! Don't wait for him to power up. Take him out now!" And Hit, he puts his hands up, he thinks about it, and then he's like, "No, I want to see this through to the end." It's that level of competition amongst martial artists that really makes people make stupid decisions.
I agree. I got you where you're coming from, and I agree there. But here's the thing of difference I'm going to point out between that is that it was explained there, you know, whether we agree or disagree with it, whether, you know, someone believes it's stupidity or not, and honestly, but the thing about it is that it at least is explained to us as viewers that why Hit is waiting for Goku and he wants to test himself, and we got that, but it was never explained or stated anything with Jiren, so we had to kind of just believe that maybe that's what he's doing, and it alluded to it, but the thing is, the stakes were so much higher in this tournament, because remember, in that tournament, and eventually Goku and Hit realized they're just little pawns in the gods' game. So at the end of the moment, Hit just didn't even give a care about it. But here, everything is on the line. If you don't do anything, there's no urgency. The universe goes, and he had seen all the full power of Goku. So it's like he should have really hit him out. Like wow. But don't get me wrong, I get what you're saying. But it's like for the longest way, they never even had Jiren say a line like that. Like, I want to test my power, Son Goku. Like, you kind of get what I'm saying.
Sorry, I'm drinking the working man's water. No, I completely agree. But once again, I think that's one of those things that could just be made through assumption. Because
we have to do so often with Dragon Ball.
Well, not even that. It's just you got to look at Jiren's character. So like Jiren only eliminates people, if you've noticed, when he officially knows they have nothing left to offer him.
Right.
Prime example.
That reminds me of that time when he could have beaten Goku after he first got the Omen version of Migate no Goku, and he turned, there's no one left to challenge me. So he meditates. Don't matter if no one's left to challenge you. Like the number games have now. We'll get to it, and eventually we're gonna be how the number games have caught up to Jiren.
But that's the thing, and I've told you this with him. He could have eliminated every single last person.
He sure could have, with the power that he was holding back. We saw in this,
that's what I'm saying. He could have
leashed.
But that's what I'm saying. Like he could have eliminated from the jump every single person
Oh
in
man.
this tournament.
And you know what, too? I just laugh. I got what you're saying. Yeah, he sure could have, but I just realized they used the hidden power. Like, they came up with that out of nowhere to this full power. Like, just look at that. Like, how is Jiren going to do that? Well, we can't go with his full power, so we're going to say, oh, he has hidden power. And there we go. That was their way of getting him and Goku to an even fight. Like, he had hidden power. Like, really? Like, you know, at least with Gohan, there was a whole story built up around him having hidden powers. And I know you can't stand that, but it's like Jiren, like, was this even alluded to that Jiren had hidden powers? Like in the backstory we got, like really, like that just came out of left field. Like felt like they just throw it there so he can evenly match with Goku.
Nah, you know what? It didn't bother me as much as Jiren because I think about when he was holding back the Spirit Bomb with just his eyes, and the one Kaioshin is like Son Goku and Jiren. Both of them could not have attained their power by normal means. He said Jiren and Son Goku, neither one of them could have attained their power through normal means, especially Jiren. The fact that he's able to hold that massive amount of energy with his gaze is truly amazing.
And he transcends time, according to Vado. So yeah, I get that standpoint. It's just, I don't know. I know from Son Goku's standpoint, we know Goku has legitimately worked hard for everything. Like, I mean,
apparently so is Jiren.
Yeah, you know, the biggest thing I think Goku's ever done, like a legitimate plot device he may have ever had, was the water he had to drink from Korn's tower. That's about it. But other than that,
was
man,
bull crap. But
oh, you didn't like that in Dragon Ball?
No, I thought that was the biggest cop out on the face of the planet. I hated the sacred water. That made me so bad.
But it shouldn't definitely kill our like, we love the original Dragon Ball. Oh my gosh. But with that said in mind, the conclusion of this episode, basically what ends up happening is an exhausted Jiren miraculously gets up. He gets up and he has the power to form an exhausted mind, so he's not as hurt as we thought he is. Or on the other hand, you could probably take this line as kind of like he knew he in his current state he wasn't gonna do anything against Migate no Goku, so why even bother to get up? But now that Goku's in his normal form, he's like, oh well, I got enough strength to at least get this done. So I won't harp on that too much. But you could really tell this got to Jiren. Like, you could see the utter regretness. Like, he hated that it had to come to it this way. So he says, and I love the line here, he says, "Proud warrior Son Goku, it is not my wish that our showdown ends this way, but even though you will cease to be, you shall live on forever in my memories. Farewell." And I really like this because, you know, and as being, I really compare this to anything, whether it be mixed martial arts, art competitions, or, competitive gaming, such as yourself, Linux, just any sort of competition where you are legitimately testing your might to see, who the better competitor is. And, just imagine you're nearly about to be defeated by this your fellow competitor, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they have a medical condition that you didn't know about, and this is the reason you're able to defeat them, not because of skill, but just basically because of a technicality. You would have to imagine that would have to be devastating to anyone in a competition. Well, anyone that actually, wants to win honorably. With that saying that in mind, you could tell this gets under Jiren's skin, because the fact that, man, I'm going to win this fight because he succumbed to his own power, not because I was strong enough to actually beat him down. So at this moment, I actually felt sorry for Jiren as a, just knowing where he is as a martial artist. Like, man, like he hates that it has to come to this, but he understands what has to be done. So Jiren then, and before I move on to the final line, what did you think about that line, and how do you feel about that with that it had to come to this ending for Jiren, that he realized he's gonna potentially beat Goku this way?
The scene fit perfect. It's interesting because I don't think he truly. No, I know he truly didn't want to win that way. I don't think anybody wanted to win that way, with the exception of Belmont. bitch. But
yeah, you don't care.
but yeah, like I don't think anybody, if you put them in that situation, would have wanted to win the tournament. Like with the rare exception of maybe like Frieza, I honestly, or 17. Like I honestly think like had it been one of them, they wouldn't have cared. But had that been,
Yeah, we've seen
you
people
know,
like Piccolo Daimon, Frieza take the coward's way out as the last resort and stuff. Yeah. Jiren's I think this is the part where you see Jiren, the good side of Jiren is, and I think like this is like the most like I think good guy thing we've seen Jiren do is that he at the end of the day he is an honorable warrior, and you know he would rather him win because of his own strength, and I think like this is the more honorable side of Jiren we've seen.
Yeah. Well, even what did he tell Vegeta?
He
told him,
he earned he said Vegeta pretty much he basically said Vegeta earned his respect because he admits that Vegeta has a tremendous amount of pride, and he respect the fact that Vegeta overcame Toppo's power without giving up himself. So you know, because Vegeta didn't fight with the whole trusting thing as much as Son Goku did, but he you know, but the thing is just Vegeta's willing. I mean, Vegeta was actually fighting for it the same way, but him and Goku go about it in different ways. It's more so probably the idea that Jiren was completely overpowering Vegeta, but Goku actually overpowered Jiren. So, but he gained respect for just Vegeta's underwhelming endurance to just never give up and keep fighting to the very end.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. That scene actually made me I teared up a little bit.
Oh, dude, I mentioned. I wish you could
Proud
have. Yeah,
warrior Vegeta, and then he hit him with the Owadida, and hit him. Like gave him that one last hit to the jaw to send him out the stage. I was like, yo.
I was gonna say, yeah, I wish you could have been could have done that review with me with that Vegeta. I mentioned a lot of it in my audio review and everything, but I thought they made Vegeta go out like a true warrior. So yeah, we get here. From there, Jiren then blows up the ground under Son Goku as he looks on, with that sadness on his face, like, man, he hated that it had to end like this. But I do like that line too. It did show that Goku has indeed given Jiren a kind of maybe a new perspective on life to look after this experience. So Goku's body's falling down with the rubble. He's too hurt to basically even use instant transmission to teleport to another rock. And then there's another blast that hits Goku and sends him right back up to a rubble. And lo and behold, they tried their best to not make us forget about him. It's Golden Frieza, who has recovered his stamina, which is why I said at the beginning Jiren should be used to this. He recovers his stamina. Frieza is back. Now, before I go in there, I'm going to play a clip here of what I said in my previous review, which I believe was 127 at the end. Goku and Jiren both beat each other so bad. They both are battered, exhausted, and beaten. And Frieza decides to pull a fast one and eliminate them both. Because at this point, what does he have to lose? He gets rid of his arch nemesis Son Goku and Jiren, and everything's left for him with the Super Dragon Balls. I halfway called it. This is we gave our predictions on how we see this thing ending, and as you can hear, one of my predictions was that Goku and I predicted, one of my predictions was that Goku and Jiren would beat each other both to exhaustion, and Frieza would come in and go for the easy picking win and eliminate them both, possibly. And that's kind of what I thought happened. I thought Frieza somehow came and slashed Goku up in the back, even though technically he shouldn't be strong enough to do so. They really tried to trick us with the way they animated. That was kind of hilarious the way they did that. They tried to really get us with that moment. But I was halfway right here. Goku and Jiren both definitely were exhausted. Frieza reemerges, and yeah, this is kind of a little bit halfway of what I saw going down. And I know there's a term in that wrestling fans like to use, mark out. I know this made you mark out. So we see that Golden Frieza is indeed back up. And I don't know how the heck he survived all those huge explosions Goku and Vegeta were doing through this whole fight. But among the rubble, Mr. Lapis, Junagano, Cyborg number 17. There you go.
This tournament.
The MVP of the tournament survival is back. He survived his own self-destruction explosion. He just pops up literally out of nowhere after Frieza, and what is arguably the biggest shock of this entire tournament. Everybody legitimately was shocked. I think the reason why is because, like, holy crap, this means Junagano can pull one, that he can pull a fast one on the Grand Priest and Zeno. They took him off the God pad, and we heard the Grand Priest say that Junagano was eliminated. Well, he fooled y'all. The two higher up, the two gods, the highest gods to our knowledge in the Dragon Ball universe were Junagano pulled a fast one on them. Wow. But he says it was a gamble whether I survived or not. Looks like I lucked out. So Gohan, Cruden, and Juhachigo, Lazui, number 18, sideboard 18, especially in particular, is ecstatic to see them back. And this is where you got Belmont saying, Jiren, you'll run out of time at this rate. Hurry up, knock them off. Well, guess what, Belmont? You should have been saying that from the start about 2, 3, 7 episodes. You get what you deserve. If you wanted to be a good god of and manage your team right, guess what? You would have gave this advice a long time ago. Serves you right. Oh my gosh. And so basically, the episode ends with Frieza and 17 together, ready to challenge an exhausted Jiren. 17 says, with Son Goku in that condition, it looks like it's just us. And Frieza says, I'm well aware. And this is how the episode ends, as we see Son Goku exhausted. His body is shivering, basically trembling, because it's having such a loss effect after all the god forms. And we understand that they are just the narrator says very little time. I love how they've been avoiding saying 2 minutes or seconds. They just want to say little time now at this moment. And this is how this episode ends. So I guess we can start getting into our final thoughts here about the episode. Overall, they called it the supreme fight in this title. I'm not going to say it was the greatest. It definitely is not the greatest Dragon Ball fight of all time, but one of my hopes was that this would go down as one of the all-time greatest Dragon Ball fights, and honestly, I do believe it is. I think it stands up there. I think this is a fight we Dragon Ball fans are going to remember for a long time to come, but I will say this, and I want to see if you agree with me here. I think, in terms of animation, this, bar none, is the greatest animated fight in the history of Dragon Ball. I'm talking about Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball GT, and Dragon Ball Super. I think even the movies, if you look at the animation, we've gotten some great animation in the movies. Even the recent Kami to Kami and Fakatsu no F, known as Battle of Gods and Resurrection F, this animation was off the charts. Tremendous. And I think I heard they brought in multiple top big level animators for this one, and you can definitely see in certain aspects. Do you agree with me? How do you like this fight, this Son Goku and Jiren fight, from what we saw the past couple of episodes, overall, in the annals of Dragon Ball history? And do you agree with me that this is the greatest animation we've seen in just any of Dragon Ball throughout its 30-plus year history?
I'm trying to think of which fight you're thinking of that tops this fight in terms of being the greatest fight. I'm curious about this.
I gotta think about it, because, man, that Goku and Frieza fight is iconic. I love the Goku and Vegeta second fight. I love the Kid Buu and Goku fight, but this fight does really rank up in emotion. See, I gotta actually think about it. I gotta look back on it, and this might be something we can do in later videos.
In terms of the total
think
package,
about it.
I'm just gonna tell you right now, the only fights that even remotely come close the only fight that even remotely comes close to this fight is the Goku and Vegeta second fight.
Oh
Like,
wow.
don't get me wrong, I
A
like
lot
the
of
Frieza
people,
and
a
Goku
lot of
Super
people
Saiyan
love the,
fight,
a lot of
but
people love the first fight, honestly, because you know that second fight in the manga, Toriyama didn't really go out of his way to make it a big deal. It was a lot of filler they had to put in the anime, which in terms of the anime, I love it. I love that second fight in terms of the anime, but that fight did have lots of emotional build up for it, but. Yeah, man, like, it's one of those things I can't say right off bat. I could very well change my opinion, but you are definitely right. That's why I love this fight. Like, honestly, it was a short fight between Goku and Jiren, but man, this is like for 20 minutes. This is like a 20-minute episode. They jam-packed everything in this. It had great emotion. You had a great storytelling. You had some of the best over-the-top animation, gorgeous animation, colors. Like this fight had, like you said, definitely the total package in it. I definitely think this is bar none the best Dragon Ball Super fight. If I can put it up there as the best all-time Dragon Ball fight, I gotta think about it. I just really gotta think about it. But
you're
I know
gonna have a hard time finding it because I'm telling
in
you,
animation,
like
man.
Goku and Vegeta's second fight, I say is the very next close second,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'd say their
Oh
first
yeah, you know
fight,
I love this fight.
their first
Two
fight
of
is
my
the
all-time
third.
favorite fights. Yeah, Goku and Vegeta's second fight, and Goku versus Kid Buu, man. But I know the anime had a lot to deal with that. But yeah,
The
man. those two
Goku
are
versus Kid
fighting.
Buu fight actually is not that good to me.
Wow. Really?
It has moments. It has moments. But my problem with that fight is how nonchalantly Goku and Vegeta treat that fight.
Mm-hmm.
Like they treat it as sport. They don't treat it as the world ending until the very end
Right.
when they start to get beat.
More of
And
that logic, yeah.
Yeah, like they treat it like a game, like the first half of that fight, and it's like, what? He just blew up your freaking planet. Like, excuse
Right,
me?
I agree. And a lot of people have issues with the Majin Buu saga and all its logic issues there, but and plot holes as well. But the thing about it, the Goku and Kid Buu fight, I'm talking about from an aesthetic standpoint. I love all the creative offense that Kid Buu used and like all the cool spots they had. And even though it didn't make any sense in the anime, they had Goku power up to SSJ2 and fight Kid Buu. That was some of the best gorgeous animated stuff we ever seen in Dragon Ball Z. It would have been cooler if they made him go SSJ3 and make it make sense, but let's not segue too much into that. We can always say that for later fights. Let's stay on topic with the Goku and Jiren fight. But I do find it interesting that you actually from your perspective, you would say you do think it lived up to the fight, and you do think this goes down so far as the greatest all-time Dragon Ball fight in all of its history?
Yeah, easy.
No, dude, there's one fight. No.
Easy.
I know I won't say wait. There's one fight, dude. You forgot. Son Goku versus Super Hellfighter 17 Dragon Ball GT. We can't forget about that.
No.
I joke.
No.
We watched that episode on my birthday a few years ago back in Anime Club. We were just going through like a bunch of favorite big Dragon Ball moments and everything. And yeah, I know you love the Super 17 character, but you hated that fight.
Yeah, it's oh my god.
Hey man, let's not get that. Let's definitely save this for another video. Maybe we'll talk about discussions of just Dragon Ball fights. But overall,
there is one more fight, just like a fight. That also goes up to that. I really enjoyed 17 versus Piccolo.
Oh yeah, one of the best fights. I think the thing is that fight didn't feel like it had a lot of states, which is why some people might feel that it's underrated. It's not looked down because it wasn't like the big final epic battle that decided the fate of everything. But other than that, in terms of just an evenly good fight, that is definitely one of the best Dragon Ball fights ever. I do agree. It was like really the last highlight for Piccolo. But yeah, man, this fight, you're right. It had the total package. It did have everything. And like I said, I'll come back to this a little bit later when I got more time. I really gotta decide it. But yeah, man, I do think the fight lived up to hype, and I'm very impressed with how much they jam packed into this 20-minute episode. It is tremendous. This fight had everything. So yeah, definitely. Now let's talk about this ending, man. I'll give you the floor to start with this one. Well, actually, before you start, hold on.
Nope. I'm not saying nothing. You know what? I'm not saying nothing. Because the snippet for the next episode, the fact that I see the glimpse of the Super Dragon Balls, I'm just going to enjoy the ride. For real. I'm not going to make any assumptions.
Well, hold on. We don't want to.
myself,
hold on. Not to make assumptions. I just want your thoughts on the ending of the reveal of 17. But before I talk about 17, were you aware of the spoilers that came out before this episode aired?
No.
Okay. So now, actually, I wasn't either until after, because I try my best. I don't like the toy animation.
Are you talking about the snippet when they were talking about the death beam and everything?
No. This is something different. I don't like really reading the spoilers because I want to go into it with a clear mind. You know, I pretty much spoiled everything on Dragon Ball Z, so now that Super happens in real time, I get to experience it in real time almost. So the thing about the spoilers, this is my understanding. Like I said, I never read the spoilers, but from my understanding, I guess what people, when toy animation had leaked, was, this is just based on what I've heard other people say. I haven't read the spoilers. No point in reading them now, honestly. But from my understanding, you guys, if you did read the spoilers, feel free to correct us. But I think the basic gist of what people thought based on the spoilers before this episode was that Son Goku was going to get defeated by Jiren, and they said he would be thrown from the stage, and that it would be Frieza coming in to challenge Jiren. So that led most people to believe episode 130 was going to end with Son Goku being defeated and being thrown away by Jiren. Now, Jiren did technically throw him off the stage, but they never stated whether he would be put somewhere else. And Frieza did end up showing ready to challenge him, but there was no mention of 17, and Goku's still in this, and we see that in the next episode. So some people thought Toei Animation lied to him, but I thought Toei Animation actually did the right thing and not spoiling that. So everybody right now, everything that everyone speculated, nobody has any idea exactly how this is going to end now, because no one expected 17 to be there. Everybody thought Goku was getting thrown out. So I'm glad I didn't even read the spoilers. So apparently a lot of people were genuinely shocked. They thought this was it for Goku. I kind of figured he was going to be there in the end, but that was the spoilers that released. So this really caught a lot of people off guard. People thought Goku was done, because that's how I guess the spoilers put it, is that Jiren throws Goku from the stage and Frieza challenges him next. So people just thought automatically, oh, okay. Well, they didn't lie. They told the truth, but, you know, I guess people fell for it. So what's your thoughts on that? That was the potential spoilers that were leaked, and what was your thoughts on 17, it being revealed that he's still alive this whole time?
I actually thought that was actually pretty good. It's something I wasn't expecting. So I like the fact that they went in a different direction. My favorite part about this, though, is just the teamwork, because I feel like Frieza and 17 kind of planned this. Because I love how 17, like, they don't look at each other, but they definitely acknowledge that they have to work together again. Because 17 goes, looks like as of right now, it's just you and us. And Frieza, like, when 17 powers up, Frieza goes, I'm well aware. And then powers up too. I just love that the two, like, brainiacs of the team, like, the two, like, no, because face it, like, if we had to pick, like, some of the best strategists on the team, that easily comes down to 17, Piccolo, and Frieza. And so the fact that you have two out of those three, like, top-notch, you know, strategists on, you know, in the last couple seconds, dude, this is about to be ridiculous. I can't wait till the next. I really cannot wait till Saturday. I need Saturday to come now.
Oh yeah, man, hey dude, you know what? I think it's the right direction to go. My jaw dropped. I was not expecting Junagano, but let's face it, it's Dragon Ball. Do we really need to? What would 17's death admit? You know, we knew he was going to probably come back, right? So, we might as well. So, I do like that there you go, thinking outside the box, you know, for something, you know, like people would complain about the way they did Goku. They thought outside the box, you know, like, let's not go with the whole, oh, we can sacrifice him and everything. Hey, what's your thoughts? There was people online that really took that, like, there was, including some of our own friends I know that shared about how rest in peace 17, and there were people mourning the loss of 17 online, making memes and saying, you know how great of a character he was. And I was saying, you know what, I was even saying to myself that, you know, hey, we don't see him at the end of Super, so maybe they're on to something here. But we knew he was gonna come back. But what's your thoughts on that, man? There's so many people on there who mourn the loss of 17.
Oh no, ain't no thoughts. You just late to the party, sir. I've been hosting 17 is the God parties for a very long time.
Oh,
this
man.
character, yeah, bro, it's right down the hall from the ballroom where the Vegeta shrine is located. Okay, trust me, those two characters are the best.
Oh, man. Yeah, dude, Toriyama, man, who saw this coming? This is like the push of the century, man. It's like when we heard, like, I legit thought, okay, 17 is coming back as fan service. He's gonna do some cool stuff, and he's gonna get in and get out. Holy crap! The final episode, the final battle is gonna be, just take this, Jiren versus Son Goku, Frieza, and 17. 17 is gonna be involved in the final battle to decide the fate of the universe. How cool does that sound, man? Like,
Can
wow.
we ultimately say 17 is on par with the God of Destruction now? Because he solo tanked that blast from Jiren.
Oh yeah, I was
I
thinking
just
about
want
that.
to let you know that.
Dude, I'm like 17, sir. He created an explosion that was able to withstand Jiren's blast and save Goku, and completely. I mean, I know he can hide himself
And
because
not kill himself.
you can't, yeah, and you can't sense the ki and everything. Yeah, man. And look at the. And you know what's funny? You're gonna like this one. You notice how after his explosion, Vegeta was holding his arm, but after 17's explosion, while the sleeve, I think was it the right arm sleeve, did get messed up, 17 still has function over his arm. I thought that was pretty funny.
Hey man, Vegeta left arm ain't fully developed. Okay, leave him alone.
Oh man, but yeah, man, I thought this was pretty cool. But you're right, man. We are going into this episode, no idea how it ends. We've seen some cool spots, and I know.
I really need to know how strong he is now. Like, there needs to be an update on the power scaling.
But hey, man, I figured it would come down to this. Jiren is exhausted, so now it makes a little bit more sense on how 17 and Frieza are gonna be able to hold on. So man, we got ourselves a final 3-on-1. You know, I gotta admit, while this I don't think will be as dramatic as, like, you know, that whole big giant cool ki blast struggle, dramatic finish we've seen a lot of times with Dragon Ball. This one is gonna be interesting because it looks like the ending is gonna come down to more strategy, which is what this tournament was based on. But I like that now that Jiren is exhausted and Goku's exhausted, the strategy kind of makes a little bit more sense from this standpoint, because now there really isn't much power to fall back on. And man, we've got all the top animators coming in for this final episode, so you know this animation is going to be gorgeous. Yuya Takahashi, bar none, who's one of the best animators. He animated the first initial fight between Goku and Jiren, and he did some of the Goku Kefla stuff. The man is tremendous, and we've got so many more other animators coming in for the final episode. So from my understanding, some of the voice actors have said that this is going to be visually stunning, like legit. Like, you thought this animation was good. I can't wait to see what they got planned. I love what I've seen from the previews. But we do know that it's going to be the ending, and we see that the Super Dragon Balls have been summoned. And we see the Super Dragon, I believe his name is
What's his name?
Zalama. So yeah, we do see Zalama basically behind Xenos and the Grand Priest, and I saw the Grand Priest goes from a serious face to a sadistic smiling face. So it's going to be very interesting, as this will be telltale for the future of Dragon Ball Super. Now, with that said in mind, did you see the teaser to the that was released this week to the 2018
That movie looks swole.
Oh, so you did see the animation. Yeah, now we know Toriyama has actually come out in interviews, and we know that he's doing the screenplay writing. And he's writing the story for it, and we know it's going to be based on the Saiyans and the Saiyans. For those of you who follow Funimation dub, if you wonder why I've been saying Saiyan, I'm saying it the way it's supposed to be for the Japanese version, and Saiyajins and all that, whatever you prefer to pronounce it. But with that said in mind, we know it's based on the Saiyans and digs more into the history of them and Frieza, and it takes place directly after. It's going to be this movie is based on Dragon Ball Super. It's the first Dragon Ball Super movie, well, under the Super name, and it's going to be directly based on the events after the Universal Survival arc. And a lot of people have been wondering, will Super end on a cliffhanger? So I think it's really good business. There should be something in this final episode that is sort of like the prequel to, or segue us into what to expect come time for the movie. So it should definitely be interesting to see how this all plays. And yeah, man, that animation was sweet. I love how fluent the animation was. I see they're going for like the more manga style type. I do prefer Dragon Ball when it has more detailed shading, like what we've seen, especially in particular like Yu Takahashi style. I always like Dragon Ball when it has that more in-depth shading as opposed to like one light side, one dark side, like the way they actually show the Saiyan warrior who could potentially be Yamoshi, but we don't know yet. I like the more detailed shading on that, but obviously this is just a teaser and everything. But the animation is that fluent, man. And if the animation of what we saw in this movie, just imagine, this is just for a show, because usually the movie and the animation are much better. Imagine just how gorgeous if they give us the animation like that we got in this episode, and we'll get in the final episode of Super. Oh boy. Oh man, I definitely am looking forward to the 2018 movie, and we potentially might be getting, it's not confirmed, but we might be getting a global release for the movie. So man, I definitely would love that. What was your thoughts on the teaser trailer for the movie overall? And I take it, were you aware too of the stories that Toriyama has already stated so far, like the little hints at what the story would be about?
About Yamoshi?
Yeah, it mostly is going to deal with the Saiyan warrior, and we could potentially be seeing Yamoshi show up in this. I know that the enemy is going to be someone new, so obviously I assume he's going to have to be stronger than Jiren. But what's your thoughts as we head into the final episode?
It's kind of hard picturing anybody stronger than Jiren at this point. No,
dude, all the angels are stronger, and we need some dang tension. Bring some tension in this series. Dang it. Oh. Man.
I'm literally in a wait and see kind of mood. No lie. I'm just gonna enjoy it for the ride, bro.
All right. Yeah.
I'm just gonna buckle up and enjoy it.
For sure, man. We definitely see some more of that coming. We'll be able to go ahead and do that for Dragon Ball Super review coming up. For 131. So yeah, I think at this point we've stated everything needed to be stated. So yeah, guys, we went 2 hours and 20 minutes plus minutes. So I hope you guys got to enjoyed our discussions and in depth about the story and everything about Dragon Ball. Like I said, we'll have more reviews and discussions coming up later. So TheLinuxVirus and I will be back with a review / discussion of Dragon Ball Super Episode 131, as well as more Dragon Ball discussions to come later on. Like, definitely we'll have a lot to say about Dragon Ball Super as a whole afterwards. So with that said in mind, Linux, the floor is yours for your plugs.
Well, how you doing, guys? If you enjoy me, just listening to me talk, or even if you just want to say hey, please feel free to do so. You can visit my YouTube channel at TheLinuxVirus. You can hit me up on Twitter at TheLinuxVirus, and Instagram at TheLinuxVirus. So definitely give me a shout out, guys. I appreciate y'all. Also, guys, May 25th of this year, I will be a combo breaker. So if you guys are fighting game enthusiasts and just happen to be at the St. Charles area, definitely feel free to give me a shout out. Definitely feel free to come by, say hi. Yeah, come kick it with me.
And his links will be in the description below. You can also see TheLinuxVirus play the villain Compris in my upcoming short film, Battle of Deception. And speaking of BOD, you can hear it right here in my plugs. So if you obviously are a fan of Dragon Ball, shonen manga, or anime adapted from shonen manga, make sure to check out my upcoming short film, Battle of Deception, as it's based on those types of genres. I currently have lots of videos such as the teaser trailer and the behind the scenes behind-the-scene interview videos right here on my channel. So make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can be notified as soon as I release more content regarding Battle of Deception, Dragon Ball, and even WWE if you are a professional wrestling fan. And make sure to like me on Facebook and follow me on Twitter and Instagram, both at SONGOSHUAKU. All links will be in the description below. Take care!